Good afternoon, students. Today, we are taking up paper 6 of intermediate, auditing and assurance. And the faculty who will be taking will be CA Rajiv Sachdeva and CA Karuna Bansali. And along with us, today we are having our Central Council member, CA Ranjit Agarwal. Welcome you, sir. Sir is he's the chairman for Committee for Members in Industry and Business. And he's also the chairman for Taxation Audited Quality Review Board. And sir is a very versatile person. He's having a deep knowledge about auditing and ethics. He has been earlier the chairman of Ethical Standard Board also. He was also earlier the chairman of UDIN also. And in his tenure, he has brought in many revolutions. And last year also sir was there as a vice chairman BOS. And he had done many things for the BOS, and he's very strongly attached with the students and their benefit. So, sir, we welcome you, and sir, you are please welcome, and you may kindly guide the students as to how really they need to take up this paper of auditing, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Director Board of Studies Vandana Nagpal ji, Karuna Bansali ji, and other faculty for this auditing paper of intermediate. And very good afternoon to all the students. First of all, my compliment to all of you for joining this short crash course type of thing for the knowledge and the guidance from the Board of Studies. And it shows that you are interested to know the nitty-gritty of the subject and know the nitty-gritty of the Chartered Accountancy course. Since you have joined CA course, I will let me tell you, friends, this subject of audit is the foundation or backbone of this entire course. And without mastering the subject of audit, even if you can become CA, you cannot do much thereafter. So learning and understanding this subject of audit is itself a huge task, and we should not take this subject very lightly. And you should know why this audit is important, how these standards are required, why these standards are recommended. Various level of standards are recommended by the various authority, whether ICI in consultation with the IFAC. So many committees are there. And what is the objective of these standards? What we want to derive by knowing these standards and applying our standards in the auditing time. You might have seen the various essays are there. Out of this 18 chapter 9 essays, I can see like whether it's a essay 220 or it's a 560 or 230, 550, 500. So many standards are there. So whether you have gone through all these standards, which is the backbone to do the audit, the requirement of doing the audit, and the result which we are expecting from the audit profession or from the auditing of any entity, whether true and fair view as you are supposed to report as an auditor. And while reporting this true and fair view, you have to apply these standards. And while applying these standards, you have to know the objective behind these standards. And I have seen, friends, when you mastering the subject of audit, the articleship plays a vital role, which you are practically doing the audit, and while doing this practical audit, these standards will come as a handy. And one piece of advice would like to tell all of you, since this is the era of a digital era, and you all are on the WhatsApp. In our time, WhatsApp was not there. So this WhatsApp is a very effective tool to study, and you will laugh how to study WhatsApp. I will recommend you have 8 papers in intermediate. Make 8 WhatsApp group and enroll in that WhatsApp group of the friends which you are familiar with discussing all your subject, and take 2, 4, 5 friends in each WhatsApp group, and then you discuss what is essay 550, what is essay 500, what is 230, what is 240. So when you discuss these things in the WhatsApp, your concept will start getting clear. Instead of sending the jokes and others, which is not the requirement here right now. What is the priority? Priority is to pass the C exam. And to pass the C exam, whatever is required, I will do that. And for doing that, I will use all sort of technology which is available for my help, whether it's a Facebook or a WhatsApp. When these technology are so helpful to connect with the people, so you can also connect with your friends to resolve your issue. What is your issue? So this is the one piece of advice, that make a 8 WhatsApp group, and every WhatsApp group only discuss these subjects only. When you will start implementing the WhatsApp group discussion, you will come to know that you have become more wiser. While without studying also, with the input of your friends, while giving or taking input, you will become more wiser. Second most important part, which we feel in the students' fraternity, that lack of writing skill. Most of the students we have seen, they know the answer, but because of the lack of the writing practice, they could not complete the paper in 3 hours. And when we go through the paper, we can see that the students were knowing, but the time was up. So that is happening because of our day-to-day environmental issues. Because in our offices, in our home, at our offices, we are not used to write with the pen and paper, because systems are there, computers are there. So you cannot help it out. You have to write everything in the computer. But as far as examination is concerned, I have made a practice in my office. Every article students has to write 1 page with the pen and paper and submit in the file. I will check randomly. I will not check daily, but I will check randomly. But it is the mandatory for every article student, while going home, 1 page with the pen and paper, they have to write whatever they want to write and put in the file. So 1 page writing every day is must till you clear the examination. Because 99% time you are not writing with the pen and paper. And suddenly you have to sit in the exam and writing with the pen and paper, how to write. Even we also struggle when writing a piece of paper, because the language and the grammatical mistakes happen, because we have no any practice of writing. So this writing practice has to be there. The WhatsApp group you have to make for the subject, 8 paper, 8 WhatsApp group you have to discuss. Third one is you cannot ignore the study material. We are in the process of framing the moderation of the paper, the examination system, all these things we are there. I'm giving you with my own experience. You cannot afford to miss any line of the study material, because many times ditto the 1 paragraph, 1 line are taken directly from the study mat in the question paper. So right now, if I have to pass the exam or I have to complete the audit paper, I cannot afford to miss any para or any line of the study. There are 2 modules, module 1 and module 2. These 2 models you cannot ignore. In addition to there, whatever you want to study from the tuition or other things, that's fine. But these 2 modules you cannot ignore. And the fourth one is that the concept. Audit is a conceptual paper. Audit is not a rote learning. So whatever you are doing in a practical training, whatever you are understanding why I am doing this audit, what is the purpose of this audit documentation, what is the purpose of this third party confirmation, it's like 505, what is the purpose of this sampling, what is the purpose of this audit evidence, what is the purpose of this audit planning, till you understand the concept behind these things. Because you can ask why I have to study, but you can ask why it was made to study for me, why these standards were framed. If you ask why, then you will get your answer. But if you also how many or where or what, then you will not get the answer. So every standard, if you ask why this standard was made, then you will get the concept. And once you get the concept, it will be easy to understand and you will take interest. Auditing and with the code of ethics, these are very synonymous, because we as an auditor has to report on the true and fair, because we have been given a a huge responsibility by the act of the parliament that the chartered accountant only can certify a financial statement. And once you have been given such a huge trust, then it is your duty to verify each and everything and then certify. And for that, you need the planning, you need the documentation, you need the third party, you need the all sort of tracks which is required to complete the audit. At the same time, you cannot ignore the recent amendments like Companies Act, Related Party, Schedule 3, CARO. All these things keep on changing. And when all these things keep on changing, you have to be yourself abreast of all these new development, because in question paper setting, new things are given a more focus than the old one. What new has come? What is the new thing? And that's why whatever new things, updation are there, you have to go through it. So these are 4 or 5 things I had for your guidance. Since the faculty is there, he will tell you in detail. But as far as a practicing member of last 20 years is concerned, let me tell you, you have chosen a best of the profession, and the audit is the backbone of this profession. And once you start taking interest in the audit, you should know why these standards, why these chapters have been incorporated for the student. Then you will develop the habit of loving this subject. And once you love this subject, nobody can stop you from passing. You will pass. Nobody can stop you passing. I wish you best of luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Sir, thank you, sir. Sir, actually, first thing which I really thank you is that you have really guided the student as to how to use social media for enhancing their knowledge. Sir, how to use the WhatsApp group. Students are using it for different purposes, but you have really guided them as to how to form the groups and discuss amongst your peers about the issues you are facing, about the concept clarity which you can seek from your other friends also. Sir, thank you for guiding them as to how really to use the social media for their benefit for appearing in the exam. And sir, secondly, you have said that, very truly said, that auditing is a conceptual paper and it is the backbone of our CA profession, and how really they need to have the conceptual clarity, what they are reading, how to rather correlate with the standards, because standards are nothing but the way we are doing audit. So we have formulated the standard, so it is a guidance for our chartered accountants that they follow the set processes so that they do not they are not deterred from any of their tasks, sir. And sir, you have really motivated them, sir. Thanks a lot, sir, for sparing your time, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Now, students, we are going to continue with our session. Along with me, our faculty, CA Rajeev Sajde and CA Karuna Bansali are both there with us. So they will be taking you through to the particular subject. Before they start, I just apprise you about 2 things. That's the skill-wise weightage and the section-wise weightage. So students need to be very careful while you are preparing that there are levels skill-wise weightage. First is the comprehension and knowledge, that is having a weightage of 30% to 55%, and level 2 analysis and application is having the weightage of 45% to 70%. So students, you would have just observed from this level that your analytical and your application skills are going to be tested in the exam. And the way our Central Council member has also told you that you need to write. At least whatever you are reading, you need to put it into practice by writing every day. So you plan out your the section, the topic number 1, that is nature, objective, and scope of audit, which covers auditing concepts and standard setting process. covers engagement standards, and it covers the second topic, audit strategy, audit planning, and audit program. And it covers audit sampling as well and analytical procedures. So all these topics are having a weightage of 20 to 25%. Then I come to the section 2. Section 2 is about audit documentation, audit evidence, and it is having a weightage of 5% to 15%. Then I come to section 3, which talks about risk assessment, internal control, and it also covers audit in an automated environment. It is having a percentage of 10% to 15%. Then I come to section 4, which is about fraud and responsibilities of the auditor in this regard. And then it also covers the company audit, and it is having a weightage of 15% to 20%. Then I come to section 5, which is about the audit format, audit report, right? So audit report is having a percentage of 5% to 15%. Then I come to section 6, which is about audit of items of financial statements, students, and this is having a weightage of 10% to 15%. And then I come to section 7, which is about audit of banks and audit of different types of entities. It is having a weightage of 10% to 20%. So students, once you are planning your studies for your exam, you need to be also planning, keeping in mind the section-wise weightage given to different sections. And students, my advice to you is don't miss any sections, because when you are asked questions in the question paper, so it may be from any of the sections. And in a particular question, you'll be having a mix of questions from. So don't miss any of the sections. Do the writing practice. Do not read the answers. Read the questions and write it in your answer sheet. Check it with the answers which we have given it to you in our material, and then you see where you are missing out. So students, let me also tell you one thing. Audit is not a difficult subject. It's a very conceptual subject, and it is the backbone of our profession. Understand the situation, put yourself in that position, and then answer. Don't mug up. Don't try doing rote learning, because rote learning is not required for this particular subject. Understand the concepts, write the answers, check your answers, what you've written. It will really make you adept in tackling the paper. So students, the classes are going to continue till 26th of September. And thereafter, we are starting with a mock test paper series 1 from 27th September. And then in the second week of October, we are starting the mock test series 2. So students, contact your nearest branch, go and attempt the question paper in the examination conditions and see where you have gone wrong. So your of this time is going to help you in appearing in your exam, and this journey of yours is going to be very seamless. So students, now I'll be requesting Rajiv ji and Karuna to take up the session. But before they start, students, there is going to be a break of 1 minute. We are going to change the platform, and kindly bear with us. And thereafter, they'll be starting the session. Thank you. And over to Rajiv ji and Karuna.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. You are welcome to this BoS For Your Success session. Today's session is on Auditing and Assurance, Paper 6, Intermediate. First of all, I am thankful to our Central Council member, CA Ranjit Agarwal ji, who has shared his words of wisdom with you on this subject, and he has guided you in a beautiful way, sharing his experience and wisdom with you. He has talked about WhatsApp group, about concepts and other things also. I am thankful to CA Vandana Nagpal Madam, who is Director Board of Studies, and she has shared her wisdom with you on this subject. So students, a warm welcome to you. And today in this session, we will take you through many concepts and questions. What mistakes normally you do while answering the questions. So all these things we will discuss with you today. Yes, Karuna.
So students, if you always try your best, then you will never have to wonder about what you could have done if you would summon all your thunder, and if your best was not as good as you hoped it would be, then what you need to do. For that, today we welcome you in BoS For Your Success subject specific session, Auditing and Assurance. You all are aware that we have 13 chapters, right? For intermediate paper 6, Auditing and Assurance, we have 13 chapters. Out of 13, 9 are related to our engagement and quality control standards. And as rightly conveyed by our Central Council members, Ranjit Agarwal ji, these standards are very, very important. And you need to understand what is the intention behind these engagement and quality control standards. So, why these standards were framed? Why the need of these standards was felt? So, you need to understand that 9 chapters plays a very, very important role. And other than these chapters, we have our company audit, audit of bank, and audit of different type of entities, in fact, audit of items of financial statements, right? For that, our Director Board of Studies apprised you about section-wise and skill-wise weightage. Just I'm repeating the same, that in our section 1, weightage is 20 to 25%, means 25% plays a very, very important role. And for getting this, you need to prepare nature, objective, and scope of audit topic, audit strategy, audit planning, and audit program, audit sampling, analytical procedure. Today in this session, we will not take you through all these 13 chapters. We'll also make you practice how to go ahead in the examination, what kind of paper is being asked, how many marks is for multiple choice question, how many marks is for descriptive question, then what brief about integrated case scenario, multiple choice questions, and then with the help of previous examination question paper and performance of students, and what are the observation on that performance of examiner, that of course we will be discussing, so that those observations can be taken care, and in next examination we will be able to achieve our goal. So ma'am already told you that we have 4 chapters for section 1, 20 to 25% weightage is for the same. Then we have section 2, that is audit documentation, audit evidence. This is very, very important. And for audit documentation, we have SA 230. And for audit evidence, we have SA 500 series. For this topic, we have weightage of 5 to 15%. Risk assessment and internal control and audit in an automated environment. These 2 chapters comprises section 3. weightage is 10 to 15%. Now, in this chapter, what we are covering in risk assessment and internal control, we are covering our standard on auditing 315, identifying and assessing the risk of material misstatement through understanding the entity and its environment. 320, materiality and audit planning. And then we have audit in an automated environment. Then coming to next section, that is section 4, weightage is of course again good, 15 to 20%, that is fraud and responsibilities of auditor in this regard. And here we will be discussing not only SA 240, we will also discuss the provisions of Companies Act 2013 with respect to this fraud reporting. Then we have company audit. So this is relating to company audit and SA 240 for section 4. In section 5, we are covering audit report. Again, SA 700 series, 700, 701, 705, 706 and 710, that is comparative. So for this, weightage is 5% to 15%. And for section 6, we have audit of various items of financial statements which are being shown. For that, we have weightage of 10 to 15%. And last but not least, in this section, we have two topics, audit of bank and audit of different type of entities, and weightage for the same is 10 to 20%. So try to understand, when out of 13, 9 chapters are standards on auditing based. And these standards are very, very important and play a very crucial and important role. And when you will be going for final also, importance of standards is high. So please try to understand why this engagement and quality control standard is being, what is the need. So for that, you need to prepare a flow chart. In that, in your flow chart or in your notes, a first part should be standard number, its name. Then what is the scope? Where is the need? Why this standard is required? Is standard की क्या जरूरत है? ठीक है? Then objective of that standard. उस standard को बनाने का क्या object था? Like for audit documentation, क्या scope है? क्या objective है? क्यों audit documentation standard की जरूरत पड़ी? क्या ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन स्टैंडर्ड हमको गाइड करता है? देन ऑडिटर्स रोल, इस स्टैंडर्ड के लिए ऑडिटर का क्या रोल है? व्हाट इज द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ ऑडिटर? हाउ टू डील इन दैट स्पेसिफिक सिचुएशन? एंड देन हाउ ऑडिटर विल रिपोर्ट. सो यू कैन प्रिपेयर योर ओन नोट्स एंड इन दिस फॉर्म ऑफ फ्लो चार्ट. नाउ मूविंग So why we have scheduled these class? First, you need to understand what is the reason of this class. Why this BoS subject specific sessions, BoS for your success is being organized, because we felt that yes, you need some specific tips and guidance so that you can get best of the result. As rightly said by our Central Council member, that auditing is the backbone of the profession. So please don't take it ki it's a theoretical paper. We can prepare in short time. We can go for shortcut. Please prepare and understand the key concept, key definition. So the object of scheduling this class is to brush up knowledge, focus on presentation, how you are writing in your examination, what should be the exam strategy, what are the common issues which we generally face, then how to perform in place of better, it should be best. And for that, as this is BoS for your success, plan, prepare and perform. 3 steps are there: plan, prepare and perform. And for planning, you need to have all the resources. ठीक है? अगर हमें कहीं जाना है तो हम प्लान करते हैं ना कि हमें ट्रिप पे जाना है, तो हमें किस किस चीज की जरूरत है. वैसे ही जब हमें सक्सेसफुल होना है ऑडिटिंग के लिए, तो हमें प्लान करना है, और प्लानिंग के लिए हमारे पास सारे रिसोर्सेज हमारे साथ में होने चाहिए. क्यों? जब हम ट्रिप पे जाते हैं तो रखते हैं ना अपने साथ कोई इमरजेंसी हो गई तो, कोई मेडिकल इमरजेंसी हो गई तो हमें क्या चीज की जरूरत पड़ेगी। इस तरह से ऑडिटिंग सब्जेक्ट के लिए भी आपके पास सारे इंपॉर्टेंट रिसोर्सेज होने चाहिए। दैट इज आवर स्टडी मटेरियल, MCQ and case scenario booklet for practice for multiple choice question, revisionary test paper। वहां आप ना सिर्फ रिवीजन के लिए क्वेश्चंस मिलेंगे बट ऑल्सो विल फाइंड एकेडमिक अपडेट पार्ट। मींस after publishing the study material, if any of the updates are there, that we cover in our academic update part of revisionary test paper. Then comes our mock test paper. Once you are prepared, then how you will assess कि हाँ हम सही डायरेक्शन में हैं या नहीं, हमने सही से पढ़ा है। तो then we will be sitting in examination condition and we will be attending our mock test paper so that we can analyze where we are, how we need to work hard on our preparation level, where we are lacking, or in which topic we are feeling that this topic is strong and which is weak. So how to go in correct direction, so you can analyze your performance level with the help of mock test paper. Then comes our suggested answers, PYQs, right? And all these resources are available on our BoS mobile app, BoS knowledge portal, right? Or you can go on www.icai.org. You are also required to download BoS mobile app from Google Store, because on BoS mobile app you will get all the resources, okay, like study material, then our revisionary test paper, PYQs. In fact, for revision, we prepare capsules that are also available on BoS Knowledge Portal and BoS mobile app. Not only this, we have our live coaching classes for you students. It's free of cost and you can watch from anywhere. So these live coaching classes, all recorded classes, are also available on BoS mobile app. In case if you feel that this topic is weak, or I'm not able to understand this topic, you can call us, you can mail us, or you can watch the recorded class, recorded lecture. In addition to recorded class, you will also find assignments and notes in that live coaching class feature in BoS mobile app. So along with this live coaching class, RTP, suggested, mock test, all are available on BoS mobile app. Yes, sir. You want to say something?
Yes, students. करुणा मैडम ने आपको काफी BoS नॉलेज पोर्टल, BoS ऐप एंड एवरीथिंग, काफी चीजों के बारे में प्राइज कराया about classification of the syllabus, about different sort of weightages, skill wise weightage, section wise weightage, and so on. Thank you, Karuna, for all this knowledge for the students. Now, going forward, as Karuna madam was saying, 9 chapters out of 13 chapters are essay based chapters. So students, essays, how to study essays? Believe me, this is a question which even CS final students also ask, sir, how should we study essays? Isn't it, Karuna?
Yes, sir.
So even CA final students, they come to us and they ask us, sir, how we should go ahead with essays. Essays हमें पढ़ने नहीं आते, हम कैसे करें? Essays करने बहुत मुश्किल है, and so on. At intermediate level, आप इसको जितना अच्छा से कर लोगे, फाइनल में भी आपके काम आएगा. This is not only for intermediate level. Students, so be very much particular so far as 9 chapters out of 13 chapters are concerned. I am not saying you have to ignore 4 chapters. In this particular session, we will be focusing on 9 chapters. And in second session, tomorrow, we will be focusing on the balance 4 chapters. So, how do we study essays? You should strategize your plans. Just make a strategy to do essays कि how we will handle the essays. So इसके लिए क्या है कि students मेरे पास एक certain plan है जिससे कि आपके essays जो हैं वो ABC के सब first of all what I focus is on building some backup of the essays, ABC of essays. If I am not able to understand the ABC of essays, if I am not conceptually clear with certain terms, certain issues of the essays, then I will not be able to understand the intention of the essays, procedures which are there in essays. So my first suggestion to you all is that at least have some backup. Now, what is that backup? So you start with the definition portion. There is definition portion in the essays. In particular, so far as your modules are concerned, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5, chapter 6, then chapter 6 is audit of automated environment. Chapter 6, let us not discuss chapter 6. Chapter 7, chapter 8, then chapter 9, then chapter 11. These are 9 chapters which are essay based chapters. So there are definitions. For example, I give you one example, audit documentation. Now have grip over that definition. Just practice those definitions. You should make a target of doing at least 5 definitions on daily basis. Practice those definitions. Go through those definitions. Read at least 5 times those definitions. So you will have full control over the definitions then. Say, now the question rises, how to do the definition? How should I practice that definition? So try to form a linkage. There is linkage in that. Every definition you will come across has some linkage. For example, definition of audit documentation. Now audit documentation, chapter 3. Audit documentation refers to, at intermediate level, students also ask us, sir, हम लिखें कैसे? How to write in the examination? So जब आप कोई definition लिख रहे, because definition आपको 2 marker questions में लिखनी पड़ जाती है और बीच में भी लिखनी पड़ जाती है कहीं पर questions में. So definition आप 3 चीजें यूज कर सकते हो. For example, audit documentation refers to. Audit documentation may be defined as. Audit documentation means whatever you want. आप उसको यूज कर सकते हो, जैसे यहां पे मैं यूज कर रहा हूं. Audit documentation refers to. हर एक definition, every definition, उसमें कीवर्ड होता है कि ये है क्या. वो आपके माइंड में बिल्कुल सेट होना चाहिए. Keywords should not be missing. So audit documentation refers to record. Audit documentation के लिए जो important word है वो है record. अब अगर आप record ही नहीं पेपर में लिखोगे तो फिर मार्क्स नहीं मिलेंगे आपको. तो रिकॉर्ड लिखना जरूरी है. और आप अपने माइंड में सेटल कर लो कि ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, व्हेनेवर यू टॉक ऑफ ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, यू मस्ट थिंक ऑफ रिकॉर्ड, दैट इट इज ए रिकॉर्ड ऑफ. 3 चीजों का रिकॉर्ड होता है ये. फर्स्ट, रिकॉर्ड ऑफ ऑडिट प्रोसीजर्स परफॉर्म्ड. नाउ अभी मैंने तो आज दिन तक इतना ही करा है, ऑडिट प्रोसीजर्स परफॉर्म. उससे आप फिर जो बैलेंस 2 पॉइंट्स हैं उनकी लिंकेज बना लीजिए जो डेफिनेशन में. रिकॉर्ड ऑफ ऑडिट प्रोसीजर्स परफॉर्म. अब ऑडिट प्रोसीजर्स परफॉर्म अगर मैं करूंगा तो मुझे क्या मिलेगा? ये सभी स्टूडेंट्स को मालूम है क्या मिलेगा. एवरी स्टूडेंट हैज दिस नॉलेज. अगर मैं ऑडिट प्रोसीजर्स परफॉर्म करूंगा स्टूडेंट्स तो मुझे ऑडिट एविडेंस मिल जाएगा. सेकंड पॉइंट, दिस इज सेकंड पॉइंट, relevant audit evidence obtained. Audit documentation refers to record of audit procedures performed, relevant audit evidence obtained. और relevant audit evidence अगर मुझे मिल गया तो मैं फिर क्या करूंगा उसका? इससे मैं conclusion पे पहुंच जाऊंगा स्टूडेंट्स. And third point is the conclusions the auditor reached. So this is the complete definition of audit documentation. Audit documentation refers to record of audit procedures performed, record relevant audit evidence obtained, and the conclusions the auditor reached. तो 3 चीजों का ये रिकॉर्ड है. हम साथ साथ बेसिक्स भी डेवलप करेंगे और साथ साथ क्वेश्चंस भी हैंडल कर लेंगे.
बिल्कुल. मोहम्मद इज आस्किंग अबाउट ऑडिट एविडेंस.
यस, आई विल टेल यू कि ऑडिट एविडेंस कैसे आपको उसमें लिंकेज कैसे एस्टेब्लिश करनी है. आई विल टेल यू मोहम्मद. I will explain to you. I will thereafter, after this definition, I will touch upon audit evidence itself. So before I proceed further, तो आपको क्या करना है, हर रोज डेली बेसिस पर स्टूडेंट्स, पहला स्टेप है एससीज का बैकअप बनाने का. आपको डेली बेसिस पर 5 डेफिनेशन, और अगर आप 5 डेफिनेशंस का बैकअप बनाते हैं, जैसे मैंने अभी आपको एक डेफिनेशन कराई है ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, आप मेरे साथ साथ ही कर लो. ये नहीं कि बाद में करेंगे, जब लेक्चर ओवर हो जाएगा तो बुक खोल के करेंगे. अभी मैं आपको साथ साथ ही करा रहा हूं. ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन रेफर्स टू रिकॉर्ड ऑफ ऑडिट प्रोसीजर्स परफॉर्म. ऑडिट प्रोसीजर परफॉर्म करके मुझे क्या मिलने वाला है, रेलेवेंट ऑडिट एविडेंस ऑब्टेन्ड, और रेलेवेंट ऑडिट एविडेंस ऑब्टेन्ड करके क्या होएगा, द कंक्लूजंस द ऑडिटर रीच्ड. सो यही कंप्लीट डेफिनेशन है. ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन रेफर्स टू रिकॉर्ड ऑफ ऑडिट प्रोसीजर्स परफॉर्म्ड, relevant audit evidence obtained, and the conclusions the auditor reached. Yes, Karuna madam.
Yes, sir. So in between, I will be taking you for examination. ठीक है सर, आपको लर्निंग का एक्सपीरियंस, और मैं आपको ले जाऊंगी एग्जामिनेशन हॉल में, जहां आप देखेंगे अपना नवंबर 22 एग्जामिनेशन का क्वेश्चन पेपर. तो फर्स्ट वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि पेपर का जो पैटर्न है, जो इंस्ट्रक्शंस है, वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. अगर हम इंस्ट्रक्शंस को देखें तो हमारा पेपर ना 2 पार्ट में डिवाइडेड है. पार्ट 1 जो है वो मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चन पार्ट है, एंड पार्ट 2 जो है, मैं बिग कर सकती हूँ, और जो पार्ट 2 है वो हमारा है डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चन पार्ट. ठीक है, तो पार्ट 1 जो है उसमें आपका इंटीग्रेटेड केस सिनेरियो एंड मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चन टाइप जो क्वेश्चंस होते हैं. एंड आपको ऑलरेडी बताया कि जो पेपर पैटर्न है उसमें नॉलेज एंड कॉम्प्रिहेंशन है और एनालिसिस एंड एप्लीकेशन है. नॉलेज एंड कॉम्प्रिहेंशन मींस कोई प्रोविजन है, कोई स्टैंडर्ड है, उसका आपको नॉलेज है, और उस नॉलेज को आप अप्लाई करके उस क्वेश्चन के आंसर को टिक कर सकते हैं, विच एवर इज द बेस्ट करेक्ट आंसर. ठीक है. देन इंटीग्रेटेड केस सिनेरियो क्या है, वहां एक से ज्यादा सिचुएशन है, और उन एक से ज्यादा सिचुएशन को इंटरलिंक करके आपका नॉलेज वहां अप्लाई करना है, और अकॉर्डिंगली आपको आंसर को मार्क करना है. सेकेंड पार्ट इज एप्लीकेशन एंड एनालिसिस. मींस जैसे कंपनीज एक्ट में आपको कोई सेक्शन दिया हुआ है, सेक्शन 144 में आपको सेक्शंस दी हुई है जो कि ऑडिटर को सर्विसेज रेंडर नहीं करना चाहिए. ठीक है, तो आपको वहां एक सिचुएशन दी है और उसमें दिया है कि ऑडिटर जो है वो ये सर्विसेज रेंडर कर रहा है, या इस टाइप से कोई सिचुएशन दिया हुआ है. तो वहां आपको सेक्शन 144 को अप्लाई करना है, एनालाइज करना है कि वेदर ही कैन डू सो और नॉट, एंड देन आपको करेक्ट आंसर पे मार्क करना है. सो 30 मार्क्स इज पार्ट 1, दैट इज मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चन. कुछ नहीं हो तो मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चन को तो हम बेस्ट परफॉर्म कर सकते हैं. देन इन डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चन आल्सो वी हैव करेक्ट इनकरेक्ट, राइट. 1 कंपल्सरी क्वेश्चन इज देयर, एंड आउट ऑफ रिमेनिंग 5 यू कैन अटेंड एनी 4. तो जो फर्स्ट कंपल्सरी क्वेश्चन है वो करेक्ट इनकरेक्ट है, वो भी कंसेप्चुअल बेस्ड होता है, नॉलेज बेस्ड एंड कंसेप्चुअल बेस्ड. ठीक है. सो एक बार इंपॉर्टेंट इंस्ट्रक्शंस जो है उसको हम रीड करते हैं. Part 2 comprises question which require descriptive type answer. Ensure that you receive the question paper relating to both the parts. ठीक है. Answer to question in part 1 are to be marked in OMR answer sheet on the cover page of descriptive answer book only. Important information आपको OMR answer sheet पे mark करना है, और वो भी cover page of descriptive answer book only. Question number answer to question in part 2 are to be written in same descriptive answer book. Answer to MCQ if written inside the descriptive answer book will not be evaluated. सो स्टूडेंट प्लीज टेक नोट कि आपको जो एमसीक्यू बेस्ड पेपर है, जो 30 मार्क्स का आपका पार्ट 1 है, उसको आप उस डिस्क्रिप्टिव आंसर शीट के जो आपको ओएमआर आंसर शीट दी हुई है उसमें आपको उसे मार्क करना है. OMR answer sheet given on cover page of descriptive answer book will be in English only for all students, including for Hindi medium. तो हिंदी मीडियम भी अगर आप हैं तो प्लीज आपको उसमें ही जो OMR sheet will be in English only. So you need to mark it that. Okay. The barcode sticker provided in attendance register is to be affixed only on the descriptive type answer book. You will be allowed to leave the examination hall only after the conclusion of the exam. If you have completed the paper before time, then also you need to sit. Okay. So while reading this, you all are aware na, you got 15 minutes reading time. So you can best utilize those 15 minutes reading and understanding the questions. Okay, because generally when we got examiners comment, it's mentioned that students are not able to understand the question, understand the requirement of the question, and they write irrelevant answer or they write general points. Okay, so I already told you that in part 2 we have 6 questions, and question number 1 is compulsory, that is purely based on correct and incorrect. Then remaining 5 you have to attend 4 questions. Okay, answers to the question are to be given only in English, and if you have opted for Hindi medium, then you need to give your answer only in Hindi. You cannot write whole complete answer in English. Okay, now one thing, when you read the previous question paper, you will find somewhere that in English paper some words are different or some figure is different. Generally it is same, but if there is any discrepancy, that there is mismatch in Hindi or English question paper, then you need to understand that both the aspect will be taken care. So for better understanding only you can refer vice versa, but whatever option you have attended, means if you have taken Hindi medium option, then you need to solve the question as per Hindi medium paper only. Okay, for better understanding, of course, you can refer English medium paper, but while writing the answer, you should use Hindi medium paper questions only. Okay, generally it is same, right? Krishna Sharma is asking, if question asked what we check in creditors, and then is it necessary to write points from study material? Can we apply our mind or write appropriately without study material things? Dear students, in fact, Krishna, I want to tell this to all of you. In fact, we will be covering in our with questions also, that you need not to write same word to word language. You can write in your own language, but understand one thing. Your question is for 3 marks or 4 marks, okay, or 5 marks. Then you need to give complete 3 points. If the points are small or shorter, then you need to give 6 points, but these should be complete points. In case, if you are referring any, tutorial notes or some notes which are prepared by students, and for your better understanding, if you have segregated 1 point into 2-3 parts, then mark allocated to that 1 point is 1 only. So if in fact, when you will be getting your result, some students come that I have written all 3 points, I have written correct points, but I have got only 1 mark. The reason behind this is, if you have segregated 1 point into 3 points and you have written only 3 points for 3 marks question, or if you have written 1 point and in second point you are writing same in different language, okay, then also the question, the part you have attended is only for 1 mark or 2 marks. Then answer will be, of course, similar according to that only. So you need to take care that you can write your own points in your own language, but this should be related to the question which is being asked. Those points should be correct and complete. No irrelevant point will be evaluated, and for irrelevant points, you will not get good marks. Okay? And Suchitra is saying ki how to prepare the answer in exam. Suchitra, for that, we have covered lot many questions of our previous examination, and that we will be discussing what kind of mistakes students have done that we should not repeat, and how to write and what type of answer should be given by the student if the question is knowledge based or if the question is scenario based. That we are going to cover in our next step only. So yes, sir.
Yes, Krishna Sharma was asking, and Karuna madam also answering your question. How can we write our own language? The techniques which I am telling you, that you practice the definition part, you practice some other techniques also I will be telling you. So with these practices, the tips I am giving you, your language, the language which you will write in the examination will also improve with these techniques and steps I am telling you, how to prepare for standards on auditing. So you will be able to better perform in the examination. Your performance will automatically improve if you follow these steps, what I am telling you. First step I was telling you, that you practice on the standards on auditing by practicing 5 definitions on daily basis. And definition, how will you do the definition? I told you with example of audit documentation, you read it 5 times, and then 5 times reading for continuous 3 days, because examination is near, otherwise I tell for 5 days. 5 times reading for continuous 3 days, the definition will be established in your mind, cemented in your mind, and you will be able to, your language will come automatically better. You will be automatically enabled to better perform in the examination. Now we will moving to question, and in the meantime I will also be guiding you how to prepare. Yes.
Mohammed, why you are asking for key answer sheet which were used by invigilator, and Khushi is asking, is it mandatory to learn clause and mention them in answer? So she is asking about clauses for Karo. I think Karo clauses she is asking.
No need to do rote learning. First, I am actually covering it step by step. I am covering. First, I am covering essays, and about Karo I will be telling in next lecture. So in next lecture tomorrow, I will be telling how to do Karo and company audit, bank audit, chapter 13 and so on.
But the main thing is try to develop habit of writing section number or standard number or clause number of Karo. Okay, how to learn that strategy we'll be telling you tomorrow,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And
Karo
Krishna is asking,
today we will be discussing strategy of doing how to do
engagement
essays.
And quality control standards.
About 9 chapters we are focusing today.
Because out of 39 are standard based, na?
Yes.
So it's very important, and weightage is too much for that. And Krishna, for true false also, how to attend, we have covered true false question also. So we'll be covering those questions also, right?
Yes.
So moving to our question of May 22 examination, our question number 2B. So today we are taking standard based question, right? In between, maybe we will take some other question also and correct incorrect part also. But our main focus is today for engagement and quality control standard, as it is very, very important, not only for inter and for final also. Out of 39 chapters are standard based. In final also, weightage is too high for engagement and quality control standard. So if you study now in effective and better way, then you will be able to qualify final also faster. Okay. So moving towards our question number 2B. Tree Limited presented its financial statement for the financial year 21-22 to its auditor for expressing an opinion. Okay. So what is being done? Tree Limited has presented its financial statements to its auditor, right? Now what auditor is doing? Auditor, while carrying out the audit, started comparing various items of profit and loss account of the year under audit with previous financial year. Auditor क्या कर रहा है? ऑडिटर जो है उसने ऑडिट स्टार्ट किया है और उसमें उसने क्या स्टार्ट किया है, कंपेयर करना स्टार्ट किया है, कंपेयरिंग वेरियस आइटम्स ऑफ प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट। ओके, बहुत सारे आइटम जो P&L में दिए हुए होते हैं और उसको किससे कंपेयर किया जा रहा है, प्रीवियस फाइनेंशियल ईयर्स के आइटम्स के साथ में। सो प्रीवियस को हम करंट से। So what is auditor trying to achieve by carrying out those comparison? Why auditor is doing those comparison? So first you need to identify which standard is applicable in that situation. Okay. For this May 22 examination question number 2B, you need to understand कि Tree Limited ने auditor को अपने financial statements दिए हैं, right? किस लिए? Of course for opinion expression. ऑडिटर क्या कर रहा है, कंपेयर कर रहा है विथ प्रीवियस फाइनेंशियल ईयर्स के P&L अकाउंट के आइटम्स के साथ में वेरियस आइटम्स ऑफ P&L ऑफ दिस ईयर। और वो ये क्यों कर रहा है, व्हाट इज द ऑब्जेक्ट, व्हाई ऑडिटर इज ट्राइंग टू अचीव बाय कैरिंग आउट दीज कंपैरिजन। सो नाउ व्हाट ऑब्जर्वेशन वी गॉट फ्रॉम आवर एग्जामिनर दैट स्टूडेंट रोट अबाउट ट्रेंड रेशियो एनालिसिस substantive analytical technique instead of what was required in the question, explaining purpose of applying analytical procedure. They have not explained what we are doing. We are doing analytical procedure, and what was the objective, what was the purpose of doing that. General points were given by the candidates. So please try to understand when you go for exam, try to develop habit that yes, we need to identify which standard is applicable, and that you can do only when you have done the engagement and quality control standards very deeply, and while understanding you have make your own notes. Okay, now this is covered in a specific chapter. We have one specific chapter on analytical procedure, and
Chapter
this
8 is on
yes from chapter 8
procedures.
This question was being taken, analytical procedure. Okay,
now in this question what is the auditor trying to achieve, यहां से ये पता लगता है, from here we come to know कि ये पर्पस पूछ रहा है, trying to achieve मतलब पर्पस क्या है, by carrying out those comparisons से पता लगता है हमें कि जब comparative financial state, comparative P&L is about to study, तो इससे हमें पता लगता है, we come to know that this question belongs to analytical procedures, and analytical procedures chapter 8 is there. What is the auditor trying to achieve means what is the objectives, तो objectives इसमें आपको लिखने. Now what mistakes you do, Karuna madam was saying कि आपने यहाँ पे क्या लिख दिया, you wrote about trend analysis, ratio analysis. अब now what you do in the examination hall, when you are say lock up in some situation, when you are trapped in some situation, say you are not aware of the answer of the question, now you write, this is not so that you write anything about in the answer, this is not so, you should write, please make it, this is very important point. My suggestion to you all is, students, you should write something relevant about it. If you are not aware of the exact answer, if you are aware of the exact answer, then it is okay, then there is no point discussing. But if you write something irrelevant, here I am suggesting you do not write out of the way, that will not fetch you the marks. So you should write, on the other hand, say 4 marker questions or 3 marker question is there, you should write something relevant to the purpose. What is the auditor trying to achieve? Something relevant to the purpose of the analytical procedures, what the auditor is trying to achieve. So something relevant, of course you can think logically, you can frame your own points, there is no problem in that, and whatever points you write through your knowledge, I am sure those points will match with the answer given in the study material. So please, my request, my suggestion to you all is, go in the relevant, write something relevant. and your points will match definitely. This is what I am saying. If you are not able to identify the exact answer, in that situation, you should write something relevant.
So you have gone through that situation ki we are comparing previous financial statements item previous with current financial statements item in P&L. Okay, तो क्यों कर रहे हैं वो हम? So we are doing comparison and relationship analysis. Okay, and rightly said by Neelabjo that SA 520 is applicable. Yes, it is analytical procedure. And why we are doing it? To assess that whether our account balance or other data which are appearing in financial statements are reasonable. Okay, because if balance included in statement of P&L of an entity, if we compare with previous period, then we can find out the reason that if there is some significant increase or decrease in the amount of profit of those years. So we can identify with the comparison. Then by setting up certain expenses ratio on the basis of balance included in the statement of P&L for the year under audit, and we'll be comparing with ratio of previous year, so that we can ascertain the extent of increase or decrease in various item of expenditure. If some item of expenditure increased tremendously or decreased, so we can identify and we can analyze with the help of this comparison and relationship analysis. If difference are found to be material, and when we compare, if it is reasonable, then it's fine. But if it is material, then what auditor is required to do? Auditor is required to ascertain that what is the reason behind it, and he need to assess that the accounts have been manipulated to inflate or suppress the profit. Further, another purpose is then we can identify the existence of unusual transactions, जो कि generally नहीं होते हैं, amounts or ratio or trends that might indicate matters that have audit implication. So now going back to question that
Before you, जैसे हम आपको क्वेश्चन करा रहे हैं, आप क्वेश्चन करने से पहले उसके बेसिक्स जरूर अंडरस्टैंड करें. Do not jump directly to the questions. For example, if you are trying to attempt this question, if you are trying to do this question, first you must understand what analytical procedures are. What is the meaning of analytical procedures? And what the various terms used in that definition? What do they convey? That is very important. For example, analytical procedure. This is building. By this exercise, you will be building up your ABC of essay. For example, you must understand at this moment of time when you are doing this question, do not jump to the question directly. First, go through the definition of the analytical procedure, and that is analytical procedure means evaluation of financial information. And here the evaluation word is very important. Evaluation, by evaluation, what do you mean by evaluation? Evaluation means analysis, assessment. So here the keyword, जैसे audit documentation मैंने आपको बताया, keyword क्या था उसमें? Keyword was record. Audit documentation refers to record. So analytical procedures means evaluations of what? Evaluation, linkage बनानी है आपने. Evaluations of financial information. You are what we are doing in analytical procedures. We are basically comparing different absolute amounts with the previous year, with that of previous year, with industry comparison, with auditors figures comparison, and so on. So many things are there. So evaluations of financial information through analysis of plausible relationships. Plausible means the figures you want to appreciate. This is the meaning of plausible. Through analysis of plausible relationships among both financial and non-financial data. Evaluation is being done of the financial information. Evaluation of financial information through what? Analysis of plausible relationships among the financial, both financial and non-financial data. Or for this purpose, students, you can go to understand what is financial data, what is non-financial data, and what is financial information. Here three terms are very important. In this definition, three terms are used. Financial information क्या है वो एग्जाम्पल के साथ हमने क्लियर किया है पेज नंबर 8.2 and 3 पर. And among both financial and non-financial data. So if you go to page number 8.3, this is the definition you can see at page number 8.2. Analytical procedure means evaluation. So here keyword is evaluation. Evaluation किसका करेंगे? Of financial information. कैसे करेंगे? Through analysis करेंगे of plausible relationships among both financial and non-financial data. अब financial data, non-financial data ये हमने explain किया है 8.3 पर. I show you how we have done. Yes. In this question, illustration number 2. Analytical procedure involves analysis of relationship among financial and non-financial data. Explain with the help of an example as to how the statutory auditor of ABC Limited will analyze such a relationship with respect to total wages paid by. Now financial information, say total wages I am paying, there are 500 workers in my factory and 10,000 rupees is wage of each worker. Now 500 into 10,000. 500 into 10,000. That will be 50 lakhs or so. 50 lakhs say. So 50 lakhs rupees is the financial information. Here 50 lakh rupees is the financial information. Can we move downward? So here the statutory auditor of ABC Limited has to verify total wages paid by the company. In my example, I have taken 500 workers or 10,000 is the wage of each worker. Now the total amount is which the wage is reflected in, say this amount is paid say in a month. So a monthly, if I am preparing my financial statement on monthly basis, say at the end of each month, or say at the end of, I am preparing my financial statement at the end of each year, say on 31st March, P&L account, the figure which will be reflected in the P&L account will be 6 crore rupees. So 6 crore figure, this I want to establish through with the help of analytical procedures. So I am taking example of monthly figure, say 50 lakh rupees. He can verify the same by analyzing the relationship between wages per worker and total number of workers across all factories. Total wages is equal to wages per worker into total number of workers. In my example, if 500 workers are there and wages per worker is 10,000, now 50 lakhs will be total wages. Here wages per worker is financial data. Wages per worker is financial data and total number of workers is non-financial. Number of workers मेरी financial statements में नहीं आते, trading P&L balance sheet में नहीं आते, number of workers कितने थे. So that is non-financial data. So hope you have understood the definition. तो definition भी अगर आप understand करें तो इस तरीके से करें आप उसे, जिससे कि आपको clarity of thought बढ़े, उसमें थोड़ी देर आप रहिए और फिर then ये वाली understanding लेके आप questions की तरफ move करें. तो इस तरह से आप क्वेश्चन, जो भी क्वेश्चन मैडम आपको करा रहे थे ट्री लिमिटेड वाला, तो वो उस पहले ये वाली अंडरस्टैंडिंग लेके फिर आप क्वेश्चन करो, उससे आपको अच्छा समझ में आएगा और रिटेंशन भी आपकी लंबी रहेगी. यस.
सो स्टूडेंट्स, जो नोट्स हम दिखा रहे थे वो हमारा स्टडी मटेरियल का पार्ट है. दिस वाज स्टडी मटेरियल. हरीश, we are explaining in English, and whatever we are telling you in Hindi, that also we are trying to
convey in English
convey in
also.
English also. Okay. So my main concern was that while reading the question, first you need to identify what is it regarding. Okay. So if you have gone through essay 520, that is also part of our study material as chapter 8. If we have done in detail, if we have read it carefully, then we'll be able to identify what we are doing in this question. We are comparing, and why we are comparing. This part is covered in our chapter 8 analytical procedure, right? So moving towards our next question, that is also question 2C of our May 22 examination, that is CAN is the auditor of SR Limited. Okay, now here CAN is auditor, right? Now the auditor expressed his opinion on the financial statements, right? Of course, auditor has to express opinion without ascertaining what he has done. He has not ascertained as to whether the financial statement as a whole were free from material misstatement or not. So here the auditor expressed his opinion without ascertaining that the financial statement as a whole were free from material misstatement or not. Now you need to identify which standard will be applicable. Then, in your opinion, whether CAN has complied with objective of audit, considering the applicability of relevant essay. So here also you need to identify which essay is applicable. Yes, any of student, can you answer which standard is applicable in this situation? Can you identify? Here in this question, auditor is expressing opinion on the financial statements without ascertaining as to whether the financial statement as a whole are free from material misstatement or not. He has not ascertained, and he has expressed his opinion whether CAN has complied with objective of audit. Now you need to tell here in this question, first, which standard is applicable? Second, what is the objective of auditor? Third, your conclusion part, that yes, whether CAN has complied with objective. No, Mohammed, it's not SA 700. It's basic, very basic standard. And Krishna, please note, and for all of the students, we told you we have two type of question. One is knowledge and comprehension, and second is application and analysis. And for application and analysis, we have 45% to 70% paper can be asked on application and analysis based. And these are the questions, application and analysis based, where you need to identify and apply the provision. Okay, for this situation based question, first you need to give fact of the case, you need to give provisions or standards, applicable essay, what is it saying, and then after giving those details, please interlink it and conclude also. Because in this question, they have asked you in your opinion, whether CAN has complied with objectives of audit considering the applicability of relevant essay. So this is not essay 700. This is from essay 200. What is the name of essay 200? Yeah. Many of the students, Nilabzo is rightly identifying essay 200. Sriniti, Khushi, Manjunath, Anmol, and Krishna and Revati all has rightly pointed out that yes, it is essay 200, and name of essay 200 is overall objective of the independent auditor. So you need to write what is the objective of conducting audit. Okay, and then you need to interlink it and conclude the situation. Yes, sir.
Yes, this is, as madam has said, that this is about essay 200, overall objective of the independent auditor and conduct of audit in accordance with the standards on auditing. So here we were supposed to answer, give our answer on the objective of the independent auditor. So here the important things are, here I would like to tell you some important issues that are there in SA 200. Now SA 200, three things are there. If so far an objective of the audit is concerned, first, to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements as a whole are free from material, whether the financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatements. Now, here, important words. Simultaneously, I will be telling you how to build up your ABC of SS. Reasonable. Now, here important word you can see is reasonable assurance. Now, reasonable assurance, what do you mean by reasonable assurance? Reasonable assurance is a high level assurance, but it is not absolute assurance. Reasonable assurance is high level of assurance, but it is not absolute assurance. Complete assurance nahi hota. It is not absolute assurance. Why it is not absolute assurance? Why it is high level of assurance only? Because there are inherent limitations of audit. Because there are inherent limitations of audit. So reasonable assurance in auditing situations, only reasonable assurance is given. So to obtain reasonable assurance, what is reasonable assurance? High level of assurance, but it is not absolute assurance. And because why it is high level but not, why auditor cannot give absolute assurance? Because there are inherent limitations of audit. Now, to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatement. Now, here the two important words, free from material. Now, what do you mean by material? Material items कौन से होते हैं? And misstatement क्या होता है? तो यहाँ पे दो और important terms आ गए, material and misstatement. Now, what do you mean by material? Material items are those significant items. Material items are those significant items, knowledge of which might influence the decision of users of the financial statements. Material items are those significant items. Material items are those significant items, the knowledge of which, if it comes to my knowledge as auditor, these are such significant items. Yes. Material items are significant items, the knowledge of which, if it comes to the knowledge of the auditor, knowledge of which might influence the decision of users of the financial statements. Users can be bankers, can be users, then shareholders are users of the financial statement, income tax department, GST department, creditors, debtors, all are the users. So those significant items, the knowledge of which might influence the decision of the users of the financial statements. These are the material items.
I think Nilabjo has done deep study of this objective. He is rightly telling reasonable assessment means high level assurance, but not a guarantee due to inherent limitation. Is rightly
it is not a guarantee, right?
And this is explained in a study material chapter 1 in the form of this table, that what is the overall objective of the auditors is first to obtain reasonable assurance. What is reasonable assurance? As already told you. Second is to ensure the financial statement as a whole are free from material misstatement. So two important terms, another two important terms are explained is material and misstatement. So while providing an opinion while giving opinion, and auditor has to comply with objective, and that is, one is to obtain reasonable assurance and second is to ensure that financial statements are free from material misstatement as a whole. Okay, then to report on the financial statement and to communicate as required by the SA. Okay.
Yes. Now, misstatement is another term which is very important to understand. Material misstatement. Misstatement is the difference between the reported financial item, difference between reported and what is required to be reported. This is the difference is called misstatement. Misstatement refers to, it is the difference between reported financial item and what is required to be reported. Difference between what is reported and what is required to be reported. क्या report करना चाहिए था और क्या report किया. What is reported and what is required to be reported. इनका difference क्या है? Misstatement. It can be of anything. It can relate to anything. Difference, it can relate to amount, classification. It can relate to presentation and disclosure. So anything could be there.
So for this question, क्या था, आपको आइडेंटिफाई करना था कि यहाँ SA 200 एप्लीकेबल हो रहा है. ठीक है, SA 200 के अकॉर्डिंगली हमारा क्या ऑब्जेक्टिव था कि आपको क्या ऑब्टेन करना है, टू ऑब्टेन रीजनेबल अश्योरेंस अबाउट वेदर द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट एज ए होल आर फ्री फ्रॉम मटेरियल मिसस्टेटमेंट, whether due to fraud or error, or thereby enabling the auditor to express an opinion on whether the financial statements are prepared in all material aspects in accordance with as applicable financial reporting framework. Then second part was to report on the financial statement and communicate as required by applicable essays in accordance with the auditor's finding, right? So in this situation, as per the question, you need to tell what is the overall objective. Then SA 200 reference will be there. Then you will be interlinking it with fact of the case. What was given in the question? In given case, SR Limited, CN expressed his opinion on the financial statement of SR Limited without obtaining reasonable assurance about whether the financial statement as a whole are free from material misstatement or not. So here what we have done, we have jot down the fact of the case and then interlinking it with SA 200, we are giving our conclusion part. Remember, conclusion is very, very important because it generally carry marks. So therefore, it can be concluded that CAN did not comply with the objective of audit as stated in SA 200. So we have interlinked it with SA 200. And here we have given conclusion that in our opinion, CA did not comply with the objective of audit as per SA 200. Yes, rightly told by Rupesh Pendekar. But I hope, Anmol, your confusion is clear that here SA 240 will not be applicable because the question is specifically talking about with the objective of audit considering the applicability of relevant SA. And in this question, specifically it is given that they have the auditor has expressed opinion without ascertaining as whether the financial statement as a whole are free from material misstatement. उसने ascertain ही नहीं किया है तो fraud और error का point तो बाद में आएगा, right? तो इसलिए यहाँ basic objective we need to tell. तो यहाँ SA 200 applicable होगा. तो जब आप ऐसे क्वेश्चन के आंसर लिखोगे तो आपके क्वेश्चन के आंसर में तीन इंपॉर्टेंट इंग्रेडिएंट, तीन इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट होने चाहिए. फर्स्ट इज कौन सा स्टैंडर्ड एप्लीकेबल है या कौन सा प्रोविजन एप्लीकेबल अगर कंपनीज एक्ट का है या बैंक ऑडिट का है, और अगर स्टैंडर्ड का है तो कौन सा एसए एप्लीकेबल है. फर्स्ट यू नीड टू आइडेंटिफाई एंड राइट दैट. सेकंड, उसमें कौन सा पार्ट रिलीवेंट है, लाइक इन दिस क्वेश्चन ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ ऑडिटर, ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ ऑडिट वाज इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट, तो वो लिखना था. और उसके बाद विद फैक्ट ऑफ द केस you need to combine it and you need to give the conclusion part, right? So Krishna, is it clear? Anmol understood and Krishna also understood, right? And Revati is asking we should write both these paragraph as such. Yes, Revati, for this question you need to write both the part, like for essay reference of essay 200 also you need to give, and you need to write the objective, basic main objective, what is objective that you need to tell, and then interlink करके उसका आपको conclude करना था. और आपने क्या, बच्चों ने क्या mistake किया है, to report on the financial statement and communicate as required by the essay in accordance with the auditor's finding. ये वाला जो point था इसको उन्होंने नहीं लिखा है, जबकि क्वेश्चन जो है वो आपसे स्पेसिफिकली पूछ रहा है कि क्या ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ ऑडिट जो है वो कंप्लाई हो रहे हैं या नहीं. तो पहले तो आपको ऑब्जेक्टिव को बताना पड़ेगा एंड देन आपको उसको इंटरलिंक करके जो सिचुएशन है उसको एनालाइज करके उसकी रिकॉर्डिंग कंक्लूड करना पड़ेगा, राइट? ओके, सो मूविंग टुवर्ड्स नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. इन बिटवीन हम आपको करवाते रहेंगे, बट सर आपको पढ़ाते रहेंगे, पढ़ने का तरीका बताते रहेंगे ताकि आपको बेसिक वर्ड्स की अंडरस्टैंडिंग हो, आप लर्न कर सके. यू ऑल आर अवेयर कि जो हमारा 1 सितंबर को वेबिनार हुआ था उसमें हमारे चेयरमैन सेंट्रल काउंसिल मेंबर सी दयानिवास शर्मा जी और वाइस चेयरमैन सी विशाल दोषी जी, उन्होंने जब आपको टिप्स बताए थे तो उन्होंने ये चीज आपको बताई थी कि ऑडिटिंग का जो इंटरमीडिएट का रिजल्ट है वो सबसे लोएस्ट, सबसे पुअर रिजल्ट है. तो हमें अपने कंसेप्ट पे वर्क करना है, कैसे हमें एग्जाम में अपीयर होना है उस पे वर्किंग करनी है ताकि हम पेपर में रिक्वायर्ड आंसर दे सके. ठीक है, अगर एप्लीकेशन और एनालिसिस बेस्ड पेपर अगर आ जाता है तो हम कैसे उन क्वेश्चन को आइडेंटिफाई करेंगे, कैसे एनालाइज करेंगे और कैसे आंसर लिखेंगे. और ट्रू एंड फॉल्स ऑफ कोर्स वी हैव टू कवर सो दैट यू कैन गेट वेरी गुड मार्क्स. आप एमसीक्यू और ट्रू एंड फॉल्स में तो बहुत अच्छे नंबर ला ही सकते हो, तो ऑडिट के रिजल्ट को तो आप अच्छा कर ही सकते हैं. समस्याओं को रास्तों से निकाल दो, समस्याओं को रास्तों से निकाल दे, चट्टान भी हो तो ठोकर से उछाल दे, रख हिम्मत तूफान से टकराने की, जरूरत नहीं है किसी मुसीबत से घबराने की. स्टैंडर्ड्स हमें डिफिकल्ट लगते हैं, अगर आपको कहीं कोई मुश्किल लगती है यू कैन बी इन टच विद अस. राजीव सर इज देयर, मैं करुणा में हूं, आप हमें आस्क योर क्वेरी के थ्रू क्वेरीज पूछ सकते हो, आप हमें कॉल कर सकते हो 0120304595 पे. एंड उसके अलावा आप मोबाइल ऐप के थ्रू भी क्वेरीज पूछ सकते हो. कृष्णा, घबराने की कोई बात नहीं है, मेरा कोड तुमने सुना ही होगा, 11% गॉट पास ऑल इन ऑडिट, आई नो. एंड दिस टाइम हम लोगों को पास होके और बहुत अच्छे नंबर से पास होना है, राइट? सो डोंट वरी कृष्णा, वी आर विथ यू. ओके, सो मूविंग टुवर्ड्स नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन ऑफ May 22 एग्जामिनेशन. इसीलिए तो हमने BoS फॉर योर सक्सेस सब्जेक्ट स्पेसिफिक सेशन किया है ताकि आपको अगर कोई क्वेरी है, आपको कोई डाउट है, आपको लगता है कि इसमें मुझे कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा या ऐसा आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन पेपर आ गया, तो हमें कैसे उसको अटेंड करना है, कैसे अंडरस्टैंड करना है और किस तरह से उस क्वेश्चंस को सॉल्व करना है, वही सारा हम डिस्कस करेंगे. इन बिटवीन इफ यू फाइंड एनी डिफिकल्टी और एनी स्पेसिफिक क्वेरी यू कैन आल्सो राइट टू अस. सो दिस इज क्वेश्चन 3rd A of May 22 एग्जामिनेशन.
बिफोर वी मूव फर्दर स्टूडेंट्स, essay 200 में आपको थोड़ा सा और बता देता हूँ. essay 200 के अंदर कुछ टर्म्स जैसे इस क्वेश्चन में भी आई थी, एप्लीकेबल फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क. अब ये टर्म में स्टूडेंट्स बहुत ज्यादा, ये एग्जाम में भी एक शॉर्ट नोट आया लिखने के लिए. एप्लीकेबल फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क मींस, नाउ फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क होता ही क्या है? फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क मींस ए फ्रेमवर्क adopted by the management and those charged with the governance in preparation and presentation of financial statements. This is framework adopted by, financial reporting framework is framework adopted by the management and those charged with governance in presentation, preparation, पहले तो preparation and presentation of financial statement, and that is acceptable in view of either according to the nature of the entity, or that is required by the law or regulation, either according to the nature of the entity. Nature of the entity means according to the need of the entity, its objectives of the financial statements, or in accordance with the law and regulation. For example, I give you one example. For example, your client is a company. If your client is a company, then financial reporting framework, it is will be governed by the law itself, because company is governed by the company law. Then the legislation governing the entity, that is Companies Act 2013, it says you have to prepare the financial statements according to Schedule 3. Now Companies Act तो clearly बोल देता है कि आप Schedule 3 के हिसाब से बनाओ. Provide depreciation according to Schedule 2. Or Section 133 says you need to apply accounting standards or Ind AS as the case may be. Or Section 129 of the Companies Act says you need to prepare consolidated financial statements also. So all these things means legislation, Companies Act, then Schedule 3, Schedule 2, then what Section 133 is conveying, what Section 129 is conveying. All these combined things, combined sort of thing, 5 things. This is your financial reporting framework in case of a company. So this is financial reporting framework. So I hope it is clear. तो फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क स्टूडेंट्स को बहुत तंग करती है, ये डेफिनेशन समझने में बहुत दिक्कत होती है उनको कि ये होता ही क्या है. तो मैंने कंपनी का एग्जांपल देके आपको एक समझाने की कोशिश की है कि फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क क्या होता है. यस,
एंड ये इंपॉर्टेंट टर्म था. ऐसे 200 के ऑब्जेक्टिव जब हम डिस्कस कर रहे थे, तो हमारा जो फर्स्ट ऑब्जेक्टिव है, अगर हम उसको सेग्रीगेट करें तो फर्स्ट पॉइंट था ना, ऑब्टेन रीजनेबल एश्योरेंस. सेकंड था reasonable assurance whether the financial statement as a whole are free from material misstatement due to fraud or error. And then auditor को क्या करना है, opinion express करना है on whether the financial statements are prepared in all material respect in accordance with an applicable financial reporting framework. Right? Applicable financial reporting framework is very, very important term. ठीक है. So moving towards our next question, that is May 22 examination question 3rd A. P Limited is a company from a business group A, B, C, D and is engaged in trading of garments. ठीक है. P Limited एक company है, garments के काम में लगी है. The promoter of the company are promoters and director of some other group company also. अब ये जो promoters हैं P Limited के, वो दूसरी कंपनी के भी promoter और डायरेक्टर है. नाउ बहुत इंडिकेट कर रहा है ना कि कुछ रिलेशन है. राइट. नाउ यू हैव बीन अपॉइंटेड एज एन ऑडिटर ऑफ पी लिमिटेड. पी लिमिटेड ने क्या किया? पी लिमिटेड हैज एंटर्ड इनटू वेरियस इंटर कंपनी ट्रांजैक्शन विद इन ग्रुप कंपनीज. ठीक है. कौन सा ग्रुप? जिसमें प्रोमोटर एंड डायरेक्टर जो है, मतलब पी लिमिटेड के प्रोमोटर्स ग्रुप कंपनीज के प्रोमोटर एंड डायरेक्टर है ड्यूरिंग द ईयर which are outside its normal course of business. If it's out of normal course of business, कौन सा आ जाना चाहिए? Related party. ठीक है. आप लोग बताएंगे ध्यान से पढ़ के कि इस situation में what will be your duty as an auditor in relation to those transactions. Now first you need to identify कि कौन से transactions की बात हो रही है. इस क्वेश्चन में P Limited एक कंपनी है और एक बिजनेस ग्रुप ABCD ग्रुप से है. ठीक है. और वो क्या कर रहे हैं? ट्रेडिंग ऑफ गारमेंट्स कर रहे हैं. प्रोमोटर ऑफ द कंपनी जो है वो सम अदर ग्रुप के प्रोमोटर एंड डायरेक्टर्स भी हैं. ठीक है. और आप उसके ऑडिटर अपॉइंट हो गए हैं. पी लिमिटेड हैज एंटर्ड इनटू वेरियस इंटर कंपनी ट्रांजैक्शन. बहुत सारे इंटर कंपनी ट्रांजैक्शंस हो रहे हैं विद इन ग्रुप एंड विच आर आउटसाइड इट्स नॉर्मल कोर्स ऑफ बिजनेस. एट आर्म्स लेंथ नहीं है, नॉर्मल कोर्स ऑफ बिजनेस के नहीं है, उससे आउटसाइड है. तो आपकी एज एन ऑडिटर क्या ड्यूटी होगी? कौन सा ऐसे है? नीलाब्जो ने सही बता दिया है कि ये है हमारा ऐसे 550 रिलेटेड पार्टी, राइट। तो अब इस क्वेश्चन में क्या हुआ, बच्चों ने क्या किया, रिलेटेड पार्टी की डेफिनेशन तो बता दी, लेकिन जो मेन क्वेश्चन था, ड्यूटीज ऑफ ऑडिटर क्या है, व्हाट विल बी योर ड्यूटी एज एन ऑडिटर इन रिलेशन टू दोस ट्रांजेक्शन। तो आपको यहाँ पे दो पार्ट में था, एक आपको ऐसे आइडेंटिफाई करके उसका रेफरेंस देना था, और दूसरा ऑडिटर की क्या ड्यूटी है वो आपको उस क्वेश्चन के आंसर में लिखनी थी, ठीक है। तो हाँ जी सर।
तो स्टूडेंट्स इस क्वेश्चन में जैसे क्वेश्चन थोड़ा सा मैं मान रहा हूं कि थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन दिया, जैसे मैं भी आपको लास्ट क्वेश्चन में या उससे पहले बता रहा था, आई वाज टेलिंग यू कि आप क्वेश्चन में समथिंग रेलेवेंट लिख दें। अगर आपको नहीं भी आता आंसर, इफ यू आर नॉट वेरी स्पेसिफिक विद द आंसर, तो व्हाट यू कैन डू इज यू राइट समथिंग रेलेवेंट। अब राइट समथिंग रेलेवेंट में कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट मैं आपको टिप्स देता हूं। जैसे इसी क्वेश्चन में अगर मुझे नहीं भी आता तो मैं रेलेवेंट कैसे लिखूंगा, आउटसाइड इट्स बिजनेस, उसने ट्रांजेक्शन्स किए हैं कंपनी ने, और रिलेटेड पार्टीज, with related parties. Now what the question is saying, promoters P Limited is a company and promoters are promoter director of some other group companies. That's okay. You have been appointed as auditor and there are various transactions which are outside its normal course of business. Normal course of business में नहीं है. So outside its normal, for example, अगर कंपनी का बिजनेस इसमें जैसे गारमेंट्स का था, तो कंपनी ने जो ट्रांजेक्शन्स किए फॉर एग्जांपल सेल ऑफ प्रॉपर्टीज के कर लिए, या आउटसाइड इट्स नॉर्मल कोर्स ऑफ बिजनेस था, या शेयर्स की परचेज सेल कर ली है, या कुछ और एक्टिविटीज करी हैं विच आर आउटसाइड नॉर्मल कोर्स ऑफ बिजनेस नहीं था कंपनी का। फॉर एग्जांपल उसने 2, 4, 5, 10 प्रॉपर्टी के ट्रांजेक्शन्स कर लिए कंपनी ने, तो ये आउटसाइड इट्स नॉर्मल कोर्स ऑफ बिजनेस था। अब जब भी आउटसाइड इट्स नॉर्मल कोर्स ऑफ बिजनेस ट्रांजैक्शंस होंगे व्हेनेवर, तो उस सी द अथॉरिटी कि वेदर प्रॉपर पीपल, ऑडिटर कैसे, ऑडिटर की क्या ड्यूटी बन जाएगी, वो देखेगा कि अथॉरिटी क्या अथॉराइजेशन किया था, बोर्ड ने किसी को अथॉराइज किया था, हु वाज अथॉराइज, अथॉरिटी क्या थी उसके करने की, नंबर 1 अथॉरिटी। फिर क्या एग्रीमेंट्स, inspection of agreements and contracts relating thereto. So auditor will see the contracts, will see the agreements, what is the business rationale of doing those transactions, क्या लॉजिक था वो ट्रांजेक्शन्स करने का, क्यों किए गए, क्या मोटिव था उसके पीछे, ये सारी बातें देखेगा। और ऑडिट एविडेंस लेगा कि ये ऑडिट, ही विल गैदर ऑडिट एविडेंस वेदर दीज ट्रांजैक्शंस हैव बीन एप्रोप्रिएटली ऑथराइज्ड एंड अप्रूव्ड, रिकॉर्डिंग ठीक हो गई है ट्रांजैक्शंस की, नहीं होगी। तो इस तरह से स्टूडेंट्स आप कुछ जनरल पॉइंट्स अपने आप से बना के भी लिख सकते हैं। अगर क्वेश्चन आउट ऑफ द वे जाके एक दो आधा क्वेश्चन आ जाता है, कई बार 1 सिंगल पार्ट क्वेश्चन आ जाता है जो कि आउट ऑफ द वे होता है, तो उसको आप you can handle it that way. You can frame in your own language and you can write something relevant by applying your mind. So this is what I am saying. तो आंसर अब देखते हैं इसका क्या लिखा। आंसर लिखा स्टूडेंट्स, फॉर आइडेंटिफाइड सिग्निफिकेंट रिलेटेड पार्टी ट्रांजेक्शन आउटसाइड द पीस normal course of business, the auditor shall inspect the contracts, underlying contracts or agreements if any, and evaluate whether उन contracts में से क्या निकालेगा, business rationale of the transaction, suggests whether it suggests that they may have been entered into to engage in fraudulent financial reporting or to conceal misappropriation of assets. So whether the rationale, logic of the transaction behind was to engage in fraudulent financial reporting or to conceal misappropriation of assets. The terms of the transactions are consistent with the management explanation. Now, this is second point, is the terms of transactions are consistent. I'm sorry. यही बना लो, वो कहाँ क्वेश्चन बोल,
कौन सा क्वेश्चन?
आंसर ही बोला,
रिलेटेड
पार्टी. Yes. Answer. 2. Second point is the terms of the transaction. Now inspect the underlying contracts. पहला 2 points में इसमें आंसर किया है क्वेश्चन को. Inspect the underlying contracts or agreements, if any, and evaluate whether the business rationale suggests that they may have been entered or to engage in. क्या उन ट्रांजेक्शंस को इस तरह से किया गया था कि फाइनेंशियल fraudulent, engage in fraudulent financial reporting. Terms of the transactions are consistent with the management. जो मैनेजमेंट ने मुझे एक्सप्लेनेशन दी और जो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स में टर्म्स थी, क्या वो मैचिंग है, कंसिस्टेंट है. एंड द ट्रांजैक्शंस हैव बीन एप्रोप्रिएटली अकाउंटेड फॉर एंड डिस्क्लोज. जब भी कोई ट्रांजैक्शन से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन आए, whenever you face any question which is related with आप ट्रांजैक्शन से रिलेटेड ऑडिटर की ड्यूटीज क्या है, तो ट्रांजैक्शन से रिलेटेड स्टूडेंट्स ये पॉइंट तो आप लिख ही दो कि अथोराइज्ड, अप्रूव्ड और अकाउंटेड फॉर. ट्रांजैक्शन हैव बीन appropriately accounted for and disclosed in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. अभी मैंने आपको समझाया था applicable financial reporting framework. So transactions से related कोई भी क्वेश्चन आए, कोई बैलेंस शीट के आइटम से क्वेश्चन आ जाए, कोई P&L की आइटम, ट्रांजैक्शन से रिलेटेड कोई क्वेश्चन आएगा, तो ट्रांजैक्शन से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन के आंसर में रेलेवेंट पॉइंट आप क्या लिख दोगे कि appropriately accounted for and disclosed in accordance with the accounting standards, yeah, whatever the applicable framework is, and obtain audit evidence that the transactions have been appropriately authorized and approved. और authorization जरूर चेक कर लीजिए, मैनेजमेंट की authorization और अप्रूवल है उस पे. रेलेवेंट अथॉरिटी, फॉर एग्जांपल अगर एमडी के सिग्नेचर रिक्वायर थे, चेयरमैन के सिग्नेचर रिक्वायर थे उस ट्रांजैक्शन के लिए, ये आपको कैसे पता लगेगा किसके सिग्नेचर? तो उसके लिए कंपनी में अकाउंटिंग मैनुअल बना होता है. अगर आप बहुत बड़ी कंपनी की ऑडिट में जाओगे स्टूडेंट्स, तो वहां पे अकाउंटिंग मैनुअल्स होते हैं. तो अकाउंटिंग, जस्ट गो थ्रू द अकाउंटिंग मैनुअल, अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसी ऑफ द कंपनी, अकाउंटिंग मैनुअल, एंड ईच एंड एवरी एस्पेक्ट about fixed assets, about traveling, about transactions is mentioned in the accounting manual कि किस आइटम के लिए, किस ट्रांजैक्शन के लिए किसकी आपको अप्रूवल चाहिए. तो वहां से आप देख सकते हो, पता लग जाएगा आपको कि अप्रूवल हमने किसकी चेक करनी है. वहां से आप देखोगे कि एप्रोप्रिएटली अथोराइज्ड एंड अप्रूव्ड है या नहीं. सो ये 2 पॉइंट कॉमन पॉइंट है. आप इन क्वेश्चन पॉइंट नंबर 1 का थर्ड पॉइंट और सेकंड पॉइंट, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है. ये आप कई सारे क्वेश्चन में जो आपको एग्जाम में आएंगे, आप इन पॉइंट्स को यूज कर सकते हैं कि एप्रोप्रिएटली अकाउंटेड फॉर एंड डिस्क्लोज्ड ट्रांजैक्शन और अथॉराइजेशन एंड अप्रूवल. तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स हैं.
सो लेट्स मूव टू नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. एंड स्टूडेंट्स रेडी रहना, को आइडेंटिफाई करना है कि ये कौन से स्टैंडर्ड की बात हो रही है, राइट? रेवती, examiner comments will definitely be included in May 22 examination suggested answer. Let's focus on this question and you please tell which standard will be applicable. The newly appointed auditor of BTL Limited want to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding what? Whether the opening balance contain misstatement that materially affect the current period's financial statements. So you see, you have to identify which standard is applicable. तो नीलाब्जो ने बता दिया है 510. Let's read once again the question. The newly appointed auditor of BTN Limited want to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence about whether the opening balance contain misstatement that materially affect the current period's financial statement. What audit procedure should he perform for this purpose? तो यहाँ पे जो ऐसे है वो आइडेंटिफाई हो गया है. अब आपने जो है क्या प्रोसीजर लगाना है उसके बारे में भी, ठीक है? तो जो क्वेश्चन 3C था, इस पे जो ऑब्जर्वेशन है एग्जामिनर का वो ये है कि डिटरमाइनिंग वेदर द प्रायर पीरियड्स क्लोजिंग बैलेंस हैव बीन करेक्टली ब्रॉट फॉरवर्ड टू द करंट पीरियड, or when appropriate any adjustment have been disclosed as prior period item in the current year statement of profit and loss. Means 2 पॉइंट्स थे जो कि बच्चों ने जनरली मिस किए हैं आंसर देने में. यहाँ इस क्वेश्चन में आपको एक तो ऐसे 510 का रेफरेंस, उसके साथ में आपको क्या देना था, उसके साथ में आपको इसमें एक्सप्लेन करना था कि ऑडिट प्रोसीजर जो है वो क्या, ऑडिट प्रोसीजर ऑडिटर जो है वो परफॉर्म करेगा. ठीक है, तो ऑडिट प्रोसीजर्स आना था, 510 का रेफरेंस आना था. राइट, तो ऑब्जर्वेशन जो था उसमें ये था कि एक तो आपने ये वाला पॉइंट मिस कर दिया. सेकेंड, टू डिटरमाइन वेदर द ओपनिंग बैलेंस रिफ्लेक्ट द एप्लीकेशन ऑफ एप्रोप्रिएट अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसीज. मींस जो आपके ओपनिंग बैलेंस आ रहे हैं वो एप्रोप्रिएट अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसीज को रिफ्लेक्ट कर रहे हैं. ये वाली चीज, दो ये जो पॉइंट्स थे 1 और 2, ये दोनों पॉइंट्स जो है ये मिस कर गए थे. ठीक है, तो इसका आंसर क्या होना चाहिए था, ऑडिट प्रोसीजर रिगार्डिंग ओपनिंग बैलेंस. द न्यूली अपॉइंटेड ऑडिटर जो कि नया है उसके लिए ही ओपनिंग बैलेंस होगा. ऐसे 510 यहाँ पे एप्लीकेबल हो गया. शेल रीड द मोस्ट रीसेंट फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट बिफोर प्रोसीडिंग. क्या रीड करेंगे वो, जो हमारे लेटेस्ट, जैसे सपोज ऑडिटर इज अपॉइंटेड ऑन 1 अप्रैल 22. ठीक है, फॉर द ईयर 1 अप्रैल 22 टू 31 मार्च 23. तो उसको कौन से फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स लेने होंगे, that is ending on 31st March 22. तो उन फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स को रेफर करेगा, उसको रीड करेगा और उसके बाद में देखेगा कि प्रेडिसेसर ऑडिटर जो है, जो पहले जिसने ऑडिट किया है, उसने उस रिपोर्ट में क्या कोई इंफॉर्मेशन ओपनिंग बैलेंस से रिलेटेड दी है या कोई डिस्क्लोजर दिया है, तो वो आइडेंटिफाई करेगा. ठीक है, तो ऑडिट प्रोसीजर जो है ओपनिंग बैलेंसेस के लिए एज पर एसए 510. ठीक है, न्यूली अपॉइंटेड ऑडिटर ऑफ बीटीएल लिमिटेड को क्या करना है, शेल रीड द मोस्ट रीसेंट फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट इफ एनी. अगर फर्स्ट टाइम ही ऑडिट हो रही है तो मोस्ट रीसेंट फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स होंगे ही नहीं, लेकिन अगर सेकेंड ईयर है मींस तो प्रायर पीरियड का जो फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट है उसको वो रेफर करेगा, रीड करेगा. प्रेडिसेसर ऑडिटर्स रिपोर्ट जो है वो रीड करेगा इफ एनी, अगर है तो, फॉर इंफॉर्मेशन रिलेवेंट टू ओपनिंग बैलेंस इंक्लूडिंग जो डिस्क्लोजर्स किए हुए हैं प्रीवियस ऑडिटर ने, उनको भी वो रेफर करेगा. ठीक है, उसके लिए जो बीटीएल लिमिटेड है उनको और क्या क्या करना है, उनको ऑब्टेन करना है सफिशिएंट एप्रोप्रिएट ऑडिट एविडेंस कि ओपनिंग बैलेंस जो है उसमें कोई ऐसा मटेरियल मिसस्टेटमेंट तो नहीं है, that the opening balance contain material misstatement that materially affect the current financial statements by. अब उसमें जो पॉइंट्स थे जो कि आपने वहां पे मिस कर दिए, ये डिटरमाइनिंग वाले दोनों पॉइंट जो थे इस पॉइंट में, इसको स्टूडेंट्स ने मिस कर दिया है आंसर में लिखने से. डिटरमाइनिंग वेदर द प्रायर पीरियड्स क्लोजिंग बैलेंस हैव बीन करेक्टली ब्रॉट फॉरवर्ड. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट था. जब आप ओपनिंग बैलेंस को देखोगे तो आप ये चीज नोट करोगे कि जो प्रायर पीरियड मींस जो पिछले साल के जो फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट में जो बैलेंसेस थे, क्या उनको करेक्टली ब्रॉट फॉरवर्ड किया है, और व्हेन एप्रोप्रिएट एनी एडजस्टमेंट्स हैव बीन डिस्क्लोज्ड एज प्रायर पीरियड आइटम इन करंट ईयर स्टेटमेंट. सो previous year statements are interlinked with current year's financial statement. Okay, so first you need to ensure that whether prior period's closing balance have been correctly brought forward. ठीक है, एंड अगर कोई एडजस्टमेंट है तो क्या उसको डिस्क्लोज किया हुआ है, उसका एडजस्टमेंट किया है. सेकेंड इज डिटरमाइन वेदर द ओपनिंग बैलेंस रिफ्लेक्ट द एप्लीकेशन ऑफ एप्रोप्रिएट अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसी. जो ओपनिंग बैलेंस है वो एज पर एप्रोप्रिएट अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसीज के बेसिस पे. ये दोनों पॉइंट्स जो थे बच्चों ने मिस कर दिए हैं. बाकी जो है, बाकी के जो ऑडिट प्रोसीजर्स है दैट वर गिवन बाय ऑल द स्टूडेंट्स. Where the prior year financial statements were audited, pursuing the copies of the audited financial statement, of course, then only you can read other relevant documents relating to prior period financial statements. Second part is to evaluate. First, you get all the prior period financial statements which are audited. Copies of those audited financial statement you will get. Then other relevant document also you will obtain, and then you will evaluate whether audit procedures performed in the current period provide evidence relevant to opening balance. Yes, it is brought forward correctly. Then performing specific audit procedure, if there is any requirement of specific audit procedures for obtaining evidence regarding the opening balances. So these, out of these three, one or more of the following should be performed by auditor. And in this question, students were able to identify, yes, that SA 510 opening balance part is applicable. Then secondly, when they were writing the audit procedures, they missed these 2 points about regarding determining that the prior period's closing balance is correctly brought forward or not. Okay. And if there is any other disclosure, that also need to be taken care. And to determine whether the opening balance reflects the application of appropriate accounting policy. Accounting policies are very, very important. So whether application of appropriate accounting policy is reflected in accounting opening balances, that also auditor has to determine. Okay. So this was question number 3rd C of May 22 examination. So you want to discuss on it, or let's move to
2 minute लगा लो.
Yes, sir.
Yes. अब opening balances, initial audit engagement, SA 510. Opening balances जब भी students, इसमें important एक point जो relevant और बहुत important point है, that is कि opening balances कहाँ से opening आएंगे. Opening इसका मतलब closing तो होंगे ही, वो तभी opening बने हैं ना. तो क्लोजिंग वो लास्ट ईयर के क्लोजिंग बैलेंसेस होंगे, तो वो उसका हमें चेक करना पड़ता है ऑडिटर को कि वो करेक्टली ब्रॉट फॉरवर्ड हुए या नहीं हुए, और वही पॉइंट ही आपने मिस कर दिया. सो बेसिक कुछ अकाउंटिंग से, जो अकाउंटिंग की नॉलेज है ऑडिटिंग में बहुत काम आती है. तो जस्ट अप्लाई योर माइंड कि जो क्लोजिंग बैलेंसेस थे लास्ट ईयर के, वो करेक्टली ब्रॉट फॉरवर्ड हुए या नहीं हुए. तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट इशू था इस क्वेश्चन में. और यहीं पे ही जो मिस्टेक आपने की, आपने यही पॉइंट नहीं लिखा कि जो भी मैडम आपको बता रहे थे कि ये पॉइंट डिटरमिनिंग वेदर द प्रायर पीरियड्स क्लोजिंग बैलेंसेस, मतलब प्रायर पीरियड, अगर मैं 22 की बैलेंस शीट बना रहा हूं तो 1 अप्रैल 22 को जो बैलेंस ओपनिंग बैलेंसेस होंगे वो 31 मार्च 21 के ओपनिंग बैलेंसेस होंगे. तो वो 31 मार्च 21 के क्लोजिंग बैलेंसेस, वेदर दोज वर करेक्टली ब्रॉट फॉरवर्ड और नॉट टू द करंट पीरियड. Determining whether the prior period means 31st March 21 balance sheet closing balances have been correctly brought forward to the current period, or when appropriate any adjustments have been disclosed as prior period adjustment क्या कर दी गई है in the current year's statement of P&L. तो ये एक important point था और यही आपने यहाँ पे miss out किया, और ये बड़ा general common point था. Determining whether the opening balances reflect the application of appropriate accounting policies. Yes. So before we move forward, students, हम SA 200 साथ हम कर रहे थे, और मैंने आपको कुछ definitions का, जैसे मैं आपको कह रहा था, बैकअप बनवा दूंगा. और ये एसेज के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, स्टेप है. आप डेली 5 डेफिनेशंस को टारगेट करो और 5 टाइम्स रीडिंग करके उनको माइंड में जो ही आपके चलने शुरू हो जाएंगे. अभी बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं कि क्वेश्चन आंसर को वहां पे पेपर में लिखें कैसे. इससे आपकी राइटिंग स्किल्स, जो मैं तरीके बता रहा हूं आपको, इससे राइटिंग स्किल्स आपकी डेफिनेटली इंप्रूव होंगी, आप पेपर में बेटर परफॉर्म कर पाओगे. तो जैसे मैंने आपको ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन की डेफिनेशन बताई थी कि इट refers to record of audit procedure performed, relevant audit evidence obtained, and the conclusions the auditor reached. इसके बाद analytical procedures में मैंने आपको कीवर्ड बताया, evaluation of financial information, ये बताया था. अभी मैं एक और डेफिनेशन आपको करा रहा हूँ, इसके बीच में मैंने मेरे ख्याल एक FRF भी आपको बताया, मिस स्टेटमेंट की डेफिनेशन मैंने आपको बताई, मेटेरियलिटी की डेफिनेशन मैंने आपको बताई, रीजनेबल एश्योरेंस मैंने आपको बताया क्या होता है. तो ये इतने सारे, ये आप अपने माइंड में अच्छी तरह से सेटल कर लो. ये आपका एसएस का ABC बनती जा रही है, और आप इससे डेफिनेटली एसएस बेटर परफॉर्म कर पाएंगे एग्जाम के अंदर. सो
मुझे लग रहा था बच्चों को ट्रू फॉल्स में फुल मार्क्स कैसे लाए, ये आइडेंटिफाई करने में बहुत इंटरेस्ट था. तो आई थिंक बिफोर मूविंग टुवर्ड्स अदर क्वेश्चंस, let's just take some correct incorrect question, and that also we are taking of May 22 examination students. First, you need to understand when you are answering correct or incorrect questions. First, you need to identify where if the statement is correct, then to simply you can give the reason. Okay. अगर करेक्ट है तो सीधा सीधा उसका कारण दे दिया, उसका रीजन दे दिया, क्लियर हो गया. If the statement is incorrect, then you need to touch upon 2 points. What is wrong and why it is incorrect, means what should be correct. Both the aspects should be touched. Okay. जैसे क्वेश्चन जो है, pervasive is a term used. Sir का favorite. Pervasive is a term used in the context of misstatement to describe the effects on the financial statement of misstatements or the possible effects on the financial statements of misstatements, if any, that are detected by obtaining sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Students, ready or not? I will be asking you only that whether it is correct or incorrect. So be ready, fasten your belt and tell me whether this statement, which is given in May 22 examination question number 1A about pervasiveness term, is correct or not. I am repeating the question. Pervasive is a term used in the context of misstatements to disclose the effect on the financial statements, if any, that are detected by obtaining sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Now what happened? We received observation from our examiner that most of the candidates have poor knowledge about the concept of pervasive. So they could not attempt. And you know, pervasive word is very, very important. And for essay 700 series, you need to identify whether the situation, whether the financial statements are pervasive or not. Okay, situation is pervasive or not. So what is the meaning of pervasive? First, you need to understand. Here we will tell you. And for correct, incorrect, yes, Sriniti is rightly pointing out that this statement is incorrect. Before going to that answer, sir, you want to take up this pervasive term?
Yes.
Yeah, please. Then we will be moving towards our.
Here it is important to understand few terms of in this question itself. You must know few terms. For example, before coming to pervasive, in the last line, that are detected by obtaining sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Now, audit evidence क्या होता है, sufficient क्या होता है, appropriate क्या होता है, ये तीनों terms मैं आपको अच्छे से explain करूंगा. सबसे पहले मैं आपको बताऊंगा कि audit evidence, अभी एक student ने पूछा था audit evidence भी आप हमें समझाओ क्या होता है, उसमें interlinking कैसे होती है, वो समझाता हूँ. Audit evidence student क्या होता है? Audit evidence is, जैसे कीवर्ड उसके लिए क्या होता है, इंफॉर्मेशन होता है. जैसे ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन के लिए रिकॉर्ड है, एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर्स के लिए इवैल्यूएशंस है. तो ऑडिट एविडेंस इज द इंफॉर्मेशन. इट इज यूज्ड बाय द ऑडिटर. इंफॉर्मेशन यूज्ड बाय, आप इतना सा करो, आपको आगे इंटरलिंकिंग है सारी. Audit evidence is the may be defined as the information used by the auditor. बस इतना कर लो मेरे कहने पे, और फिर उसके बाद आप इंटरलिंकिंग अपने आप कर लो. किसी स्टूडेंट ने पूछा था ना ऑडिट एविडेंस,
हाँ जी,
ऊपर कौन था वो
जस्ट उसने ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन के साथ ऑडिट एविडेंस को इंटर.
सो ऑडिट एविडेंस may be defined as the information used by the auditor और information used by the auditor. Information important word है यहाँ पे, used by the auditor. बस इतना ध्यान रखो. अब इंफॉर्मेशन यूज करके मैं क्या करूंगा, कंक्लूजन डिराइव कर लूंगा. इन अराइविंग, अगले वर्ड है इन अराइविंग एट द कंक्लूजंस. ऑडिट एविडेंस में बी डिफाइंड एज इंफॉर्मेशन यूज्ड बाय द ऑडिटर इन अराइविंग एट द कंक्लूजंस. अब कंक्लूजन ड्राइव करके क्या करूंगा, कंक्लूजन से मैं क्या करूंगा, ऑडिट रिपोर्ट दे दूंगा, ओपिनियन दे दूंगा. अगले वर्ड यही है, ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ विच ऑडिटर्स ओपिनियन इज बेस्ड. तो ऑडिट एविडेंस की ये डेफिनेशन है, आप अच्छे तरीके से कर लेना इसे. और मैंने काफी 5 कमिट करता हूं, वैसे मैंने आपको 5 से ज्यादा ही करा दिए मैं. तो आप 10 दिन में अगर 10 डेज ऐसे रिलीजियसली कर लोगे तो 50 डेफिनेशन का बैकअप बनेगा. राइटिंग तो ऑटोमेटिकली इफेक्टिव आएगी आपके एग्जाम के अंदर, ये देख लेना. और एक डेफिनेशन को कम से कम 5 से 10 बार आप रीड करो, तब जाके माइंड में आपके सेटल हो जाएगी. प्रैक्टिस है इसकी सिर्फ. So audit evidence is the information used by the auditor in arriving at the conclusions on the basis of which auditor's opinion is based. Yes.
Yes. तो मूविंग,
ये तो है ऑडिट एविडेंस की डेफिनेशन।
अब परवेसिव की
और
डेफिनेशन।
सफिशिएंस एप्रोप्रिएट क्या होता है? सफिशिएंसी इज द मेजर ऑफ क्वांटिटी ऑफ द ऑडिट एविडेंस, कितना चाहिए।
क्वांटिटी एंड क्वालिटी दो इंपॉर्टेंट टर्म है।
एप्रोप्रिएटनेस इज द मेजर ऑफ क्वालिटी ऑफ द ऑडिट एविडेंस। सफिशिएंसी इज द मेजर ऑफ क्वांटिटी एंड एप्रोप्रिएटनेस इज द मेजर ऑफ क्वालिटी। अब परवेसिव देखो क्या होता है। तो परवेसिव, दिस टर्म इज यूज्ड इन द कंटेक्स्ट ऑफ मिसस्टेटमेंट। मिसस्टेटमेंट मैंने अभी आपको पहले बता दिया। तो ईच एंड एवरी टर्म pervasive is used in the context of misstatement. आपको जो भी टर्म्स बीच में आएंगी वो पता होना चाहिए कि misstatement मैंने आपको बताया क्या होता है। difference between reported and required, what is reported and what is required to be reported, वो misstatement होता है। in respect of amount, classification, presentation and disclosure, ये किसी के लिए भी हो सकता है। to describe, तो ये किस कंटेक्स्ट में यूज हो ये टर्म? in the context of misstatement, to describe the effects on the financial statement, to describe the effects on the financial statement of misstatement, कि misstatement का financial statement पे क्या impact होगा। pervasive का मतलब अगर आप जनरल डिक्शनरी में देखो तो broader impact financial statement पे क्या पड़ेगा। तो that is the pervasive, मतलब जैसे 70 पे 75% इम्पैक्ट हो जाएगा। जैसे मसिव फायर हो गई, आपकी बैलेंस शीट ही जो थी 70% डिस्ट्रॉय हो गई, उस फायर से कुछ बचा ही नहीं, इंश्योरेंस क्लेम भी नहीं था। सो परवेसिव इम्पैक्ट हो गया। इफेक्ट्स ऑन द ऑफ मिस स्टेटमेंट्स और पॉसिबल इफेक्ट्स ऑन द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स ऑफ मिस स्टेटमेंट्स इफ एनी दैट आर अनडिटेक्टेड ड्यू टू एन इनएबिलिटी टू ऑब्टेन सफिशिएंट एप्रोप्रिएट ऑडिट एविडेंस। अब यहाँ पे अनडिटेक्टेड था, यहाँ पे उसने क्या कर दिया, डिटेक्टेड लिख दिया। यहाँ पे उसने क्या किया, अनडिटेक्टेड लिख दिया, यहाँ पे
बता दिया। और आप लोगों ने भी बता ही दिया था, कृष्णा ने, श्रीनिति, नीलाब्जो, रेवती, अनमोल, और रेवती ने तो रीजन भी बता दिया था कि सर ये डिटेक्टेड की जगह अनडिटेक्टेड आएगा, तो ये क्या हो गया, इनकरेक्ट हो गया। ठीक है, तो सबसे पहले जब इनकरेक्ट आंसर है तो आपको दो चीज अप्लाई करनी है। वन इज व्हाट शुड बी करेक्ट, तो आपको ये बताना पड़ेगा कि डिटेक्टेड जो है ये रॉन्ग है और उसकी जगह क्या होना चाहिए, अनडिटेक्टेड। ठीक है, तो क्योंकि स्टूडेंट्स को कंसेप्ट ऑफ परवेसिव के बारे में ही कुछ आइडिया नहीं था, इसलिए बच्चों ने इसको अटेम्प्ट ही नहीं किया या वो करेक्टली।
और जबकि स्टडी मटेरियल में आप देखोगे यहाँ पे हमने डिफाइन किया हुआ है, अच्छे तरीके से डिफाइन किया, पेज नंबर 11.32 पे। आप ये जरूर गो थ्रू करें, अच्छे से करें, ताकि आपको इसका पूरा आइडिया हो जाए परवेसिव क्या होता है। और सब्सिक्वेंटली एग्जाम में इससे रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन आता है तो आप अटेम्प्ट कर पाओगे। 3 पॉइंट्स भी लिखे हुए हैं परवेसिव इफेक्ट के, तो हो सकता है वो एग्जाम में आ जाए। बिल्कुल, तो आप वो भी कर सकते हो।
ठीक है, तो आपको इन द बिगनिंग ओनली सीसीएम रंजीत अग्रवाल जी टोल्ड यू दैट ईच एंड every line of study material is very important. Okay, so while making your notes, refer study material and prepare your notes. Revati, I have written your answer. What is phone number to contact us? I have written 0120304592 is our landline number. You can call on this, and who will answer? Either Rajiv Sachdeva sir will be there or me, CA Karuna Bansali will be there. So we both are the faculty for auditing subject. So whenever you will be calling on this number, you two will be picking up the phone. Secondly, you can also ask, suppose if sometime the phone is not working or we are not accessible, then you can write, you can download BoS mobile app and use the ask your query and you can write on the same. Okay. Now, next question is, students, hopefully you are ready for this question. Audit finding and control deficiency can be evaluated or assessed arbitrarily. जो audit findings है और जो control deficiency है, क्या हम उनको evaluate कर सकते हैं या assess कर सकते हैं arbitrarily? ठीक है, तो यहाँ आप बताइए कि क्वेश्चन का करेक्ट है या इनकरेक्ट है। ठीक है, अब यहाँ पर भी सेम जस्ट लाइक ए पार्ट, ऑब्जर्वेशन ऑफ द एग्जामिनर is majority of the candidates have not attempted this question and those who have attempted were not able to give proper reasoning. ठीक है. What basic point was not given is assessment of audit finding and control deficiency involve applying professional judgment. ठीक है. That include consideration for quantitative and qualitative measure. Okay. So for this question, I am waiting for your answer. That audit finding and control deficiency can be evaluated or assessed arbitrarily, whether it is correct or incorrect. And Nilabdu is very fast, huh? So she have given correct answer also, and she have given the reason also. So, and other student are also answering. So we have very less time. So moving to the reason and the answer. Yes, Nilabdu, your answer is perfectly okay that it is incorrect statement. And why it is incorrect, that we have already in fact discussed above. That Krishna has given the answer in very much detail, that evaluation and assessment of audit finding and control deficiencies for quantity and quality measure, they are evaluated individually and aggregate both. And this is what we have given in our suggested answer also, that evaluation and assessment of audit finding and control deficiency involve. What is involved? Not arbitrarily. It is involved applying professional judgment. And what is professional judgment? Which include consideration for quantitative and qualitative measure. And each finding should be looked at individually and in aggregate by combining with other finding or deficiencies. So very good, Krishna and Sriniti, Nilabzo and Revati, you have given correct answer. You want to discuss, sir, or let's move to
इसमें important
term आ गया है एक definition जो सर का बहुत favorite और important term है, वो है professional.
इसमें दो बातें मैं आपको समझाना पसंद करूंगा स्टूडेंट्स. एक तो प्रोफेशनल जजमेंट और एक प्रोफेशनल स्केप्टिसिज्म. इसके साथ ही एसए 200 की ऑलमोस्ट सारी टर्म्स मैंने कवर कर ली हैं. ये दो टर्म्स अगर हो जाएंगी तो ऑलमोस्ट सारी टर्म्स मैंने आपको क्लियर कर दी. प्रोफेशनल जजमेंट इन एन ऑडिट सिचुएशन, if auditor exercises a judgment, if auditor exercises a judgment with his knowledge, with his experience, knowledge कौन सी? Knowledge of assets. With his experience, if one is working, say, in the field of audit for 5 years, so that is his experience. With his knowledge, with his experience, knowledge of standards on auditing, knowledge of accounting standards. So why we need a professional judgment? Now question arises, why we need a professional judgment? There are so many reasons. You need professional judgment because you need to have professional behavior. Because you need to have professional behavior. That's why you need professional judgment. तो आपका professional judgment होना चाहिए. और professional judgment कैसे बनेगी मेरी? On the basis of my judgment, on the basis of my experience and knowledge. So this is about professional judgment. Rest you can study from essay 200 or in study material. And another important term is which I want to explain is professional skepticism. That is required throughout the audit. Throughout the audit it is required. That is professional skepticism refers to an attitude. It is an attitude that includes a questioning mind. इसमें एटीट्यूड और क्वेश्चनिंग माइंड ये इंपॉर्टेंट टर्म्स हैं. ये आपको एग्जाम में जब प्रोफेशनल स्केप्टिसिज्म आप लिखते हो तो ये जरूर लिखना है. प्रोफेशनल स्केप्टिसिज्म रेफर्स टू एन एटीट्यूड. जैसे ऑडिट एविडेंस मैंने बताया था वो क्या था? इंफॉर्मेशन. ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन था रिकॉर्ड. एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर थे इवैल्यूएशन ऑफ फाइनेंशियल इंफॉर्मेशन. और प्रोफेशनल स्केप्टिसिज्म क्या? इट इज एन एटीट्यूड that includes a questioning mind. ये भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट वर्ड है. तो ये प्रोफेशनल स्केप्टिसिज्म होता है. एटीट्यूड that requires a questioning mind, and that is this professional skepticism is required throughout the audit. Yes.
Right. Yes, Revati. you need to give both the aspects. Okay, only on one aspect will not be sufficient. So you need to give both the parts so that you can get full marks. Okay. So moving towards our next question. Answer dekh liya. Inappropriate management can override internal control of any organization. Our question is inappropriate management. If management is inappropriate, can it be override by can override internal control of any organization? So answer is, waiting for your answer. What was the examiner's comment? Examiner's comment on this question's performance, question 1C of May 22 examination was, they failed to explain with example of how control can be circumvented by inappropriate management override of internal control, and they have just gave general explanation. Yes, Ajay, Tinwar, then Krishna, Khushi, all have given right answer that yes, it is correct answer. Why it is correct? Because controls can be circumvented by the collusion of two or more people. Here you need to mention that how it will be circumvented by collusion of two or more people or inappropriate management, right? Both the aspects are there. Override of internal control. Now here one example is also being given. You need not to give same example, but you have to give one example so that you can substantiate the correct reasoning. Okay. For example, management may enter into side agreement with customer that alter the terms and condition of the entity's standard sales contract. What management have done? Side agreement kar liya hai with customer to alter the terms and condition of the entity's standard sales contract, which may result in improper revenue recognition and also added checks. This is one more in software program. What they have done? They have added checks also in software program that are designed to identify and report transaction that exceed specified credit limits, which may be overridden or disabled. So, right? So I think this was the known by all. Revati, Ajay, Krishna, Khushi, Anmol, Nilabjo, Sriniti, and Krishna Sharma all gave correct answer. So
Krishna Sharma is asking, what is collusion? Collusion means when two or more employees, they mili bhagat, they just collude together. They just become one. When two or more employees in an organization, they become one to do some fraud sort of thing. So we say that collusion in the between the employees have happened. So collusion का मतलब होता है मिल जाना. Meet together, not meet word is not exact word. मिली भगत होता है exact हिंदी के मीनिंग.
कल्यूड करके मिलके आपने कुछ कर दिया, जैसे वहां मैनेजमेंट ने कस्टमर के साथ मिलके उसमें साइड एग्रीमेंट कर लिया, एडिट चेक्स जो सॉफ्टवेयर के थे उसको भी आपने चेंज कर दिया, तो आप पकड़ में ही नहीं.
जनरली ये जो टर्म collusion है ये एम्प्लॉइज के लिए यूज की जाती है. when there is collusion among employees, generally it is used.
Yes, Krishna, you can give example in correct answer if it is required. This means if it is simply you can write the reasoning, then it's fine. Otherwise you need to give, you can give. Next question is, once this is question number 1 part D. Once the audit plan has been drafted and communicated, it is obligatory on the auditor to follow the same. And for this, examiner's comment is many of the candidates correctly concluded in general. Only few candidates find difficulty in this because it's very easy and they were not able to justify with proper reasoning. So proper reasoning was not given. They have concluded correctly that this is correct or incorrect. I'm waiting for your answer. Be fast. Ajay Tinwar has given correct, right answer that this is incorrect. Okay. Why it is incorrect? Now it's in very detail. We have given incorrect reason. That what is the question now? Read. Once the audit plan has been drafted and communicated, it is obligatory on the auditor to follow the same. It's not like that. Once we have prepared our audit plan, but if there is some change, If there is some change in audit strategy, then also we need to update and change our audit plan, because they both are interrelated. Okay, so auditor shall update and change the overall audit strategy and audit plan as necessary during the course of the audit, because sometimes when you go for audit, you see some unexpected event or unexpected change or certain conditions which indicate that you need to modify your overall audit strategy or you need to modify your audit plan. ठीक है, लाइक आप प्रिपरेशन कर रहे हैं, आप सारे टॉपिक्स को पढ़ रहे हैं और आपको अचानक पता चले कि स्टैंडर्ड्स तो 9 चैप्टर्स कवर करते हैं, मींस बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट, और इन चैप्टर्स को सारे स्टैंडर्ड्स को करने से बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट कवर हो जाएगा, तो आप अपनी प्लानिंग में, स्ट्रेटेजी में हो सकता है पहले स्टैंडर्ड्स को कर लो, अदरवाइज यू कैन कवर रेस्ट ऑफ द टॉपिक. तो इट ऑल डिपेंड्स. अगर आपको पता चले कि कंपनी ऑडिट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट और बहुत इजी है, उसमें नंबर लाया जा सकता है, तो यू कैन चेंज योर स्ट्रेटेजी अकॉर्डिंगली. ओके, तो आई थिंक वी आर रिसीविंग लेट कम्युनिकेशन. अजय, तिनवर, खुशी, माहेश्वरी, कृष्णा, अनमोल, श्रीनिति, नीला, all have identified correct answer, means the answer is incorrect, but their answer is students who are answering, their answer is correct and their reason is also correct. So you need to write in accordance with the, like what we have discussed. Okay, so we have discussed 4 correct, incorrect, wherein 2 were correct and I think 2 were incorrect. So you understand, hopefully you understand how to write the answer for true and false, correct, incorrect questions with reasoning, so that you can get full marks, 2 marks, because in this also you get choice. Internal choice is there for this question also. Yes, 1 you can leave. Okay, so so here also you can get good marks. So first you need to understand what is the strategy to attending. Second is knowledge of that part is required. So if you are not having knowledge, then you will not be able to answer, right? Yes, sir.
Yes. In last question,
which question you want to take up, sir? Correct, incorrect?
There was one term, internal control, which is very important term. Internal control, the students आप अच्छे तरीके से, क्योंकि because थोड़ी सी लंबी definition है, और जब भी whenever you face you come across a lengthy sort of definition, then you should break it into parts and then you can read it at least for 5 to 10 times, so as to establish in your mind. Now, essay 315, identifying and assessing the risk of material misstatements through understanding the entity and its environment. Internal control is very important term. So internal control may be defined as, इसके लिए जो important word use किया, उसने use किया process. It is a process. Internal control is a process designed, implemented and maintained. इसके बाद 3 terms use किए और तीनों बहुत important words है, लिखने जरूरी है बीच में अगर internal control का question आता है. So internal control may be defined as the process designed, implemented and maintained. Because internal control क्या होते हैं? Internal control means overall organizational controls. तो परचेज से, फॉर एग्जांपल परचेज के कंट्रोल मुझे एस्टेब्लिश करने हैं अगर परचेज डिपार्टमेंट में, तो पहले मैं कंट्रोल को डिजाइन करूंगा, फिर कंट्रोल्स लगाऊंगा, इंप्लीमेंट करूंगा और फिर ये इंश्योर करूंगा कि कंट्रोल्स चलते रहे, मेंटेन रहे. सो 3 बातें इंपॉर्टेंट इसने यूज की बीच में. प्रोसेस, इंटरनल कंट्रोल में बी डिफाइंड एज द प्रोसेस डिजाइंड, इंप्लीमेंटेड एंड मेंटेन्ड. कौन करेगा? बाय दोज चार्ज विद गवर्नेंस, बाय मैनेजमेंट, बाय दोज चार्ज विद गवर्नेंस, मैनेजमेंट एंड अदर पर्सनल, अदर इंपॉर्टेंट एम्प्लॉइज, टू प्रोवाइड रीजनेबल एश्योरेंस. रीजनेबल एश्योरेंस बिकॉज कंट्रोल, क्यों रीजनेबल एश्योरेंस की बात करी यहाँ पे? बिकॉज देयर आर आल्सो इनहेरेंट लिमिटेशंस ऑफ इंटरनल कंट्रोल्स आल्सो, वो आप पढ़ोगे. सो टू प्रोवाइड, why this is done? To provide reasonable assurance about achievement of entities objectives with regard to reliability of financial reporting. क्या अचीव करेगा? लास्ट में जो डेफिनेशन बता रही है वो बता रही है क्या अचीव करेगा. Reliability of financial reporting, efficiency and effectiveness of operations, safeguarding of assets एंड कंप्लायंस विद लॉज एंड रेगुलेशंस। 4 बातें हैं इसमें, जो लास्ट में ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या अचीव होगा, एंटिटी का कंट्रोल, इंटरनल कंट्रोल लगाने से क्या ऑब्जेक्टिव अचीव होगा, वो लास्ट में डेफिनेशन में बताया गया विद रिगार्ड टू रिलायबिलिटी ऑफ फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग, इफेक्टिवनेस एंड एफिशिएंसी ऑफ ऑपरेशंस, सेफगार्डिंग ऑफ असेट्स एंड कंप्लायंस विद लॉज एंड रेगुलेशंस। 4 बातें हैं इसमें। तो दिस इज अबाउट इंटरनल। तो स्टूडेंट्स इसको 5 to 10 टाइम्स रीड करिएगा डेफिनेशन, जो आज मैंने आपको 10 डेफिनेशन कम से कम करा दिए सैंपल के तौर पर, और ये डेफिनेशन आप परमानेंट मेमोरी का पार्ट बनाइए, इसको बार बार प्रैक्टिस करिए। रोट लर्निंग नहीं मैं कह रहा, प्रैक्टिस, प्रैक्टिस मेक्स वन परफेक्ट। तो आप प्रैक्टिस करके आपके माइंड में जो ही स्टैब्लिश होनी शुरू हो जाएंगी चीजें, फिर ऑडिटिंग आपको एक तो मुश्किल नहीं लगेगी और आप क्या है आराम से पेपर में लिख पाएंगे, स्मूथली लिख पाएंगे। तो एसेस डिफिकल्ट नहीं है, एसेस के आप एक बैकअप रखिए डेफिनेशन का, जो मैं आपको डेफिनेशन, ये तो पहला स्टेप है जो आज मैंने आपको कवर अप किया। दूसरा, आप हमने स्टडी मटेरियल के अंदर जितने भी एसेस दिए हैं, चाहे वो एसे 500, 315 है, एसे 240 है, 200, सबका ऑब्जेक्टिव और स्कोप साथ में दिया हुआ है, ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ द एसे एंड स्कोप ऑफ द एसे। तो ये साथ और कर लेना आप अच्छे तरीके से, उसकी बार बार प्रैक्टिस करके, फिर ये आपकी एसे की एबीसी डेवलप हो जाएगी। फिर आपके लिए एसे से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चंस करने मुश्किल नहीं होंगे एग्जाम में। क्वेश्चंस की प्रैक्टिस जो है, मैं आपको जो एसे के रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन है कुछ तो आज कराइए, नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में भी 1 आवर बाकी हम चैप्टर्स के लिए रख लेंगे और इस एसेज के लिए 1 आवर और रख लेंगे, जिससे मैं आपको स्टडी मटेरियल के इंडिपेंडेंट क्वेश्चंस करा दूंगा। अभी आज तो हमने सजेस्टेड आंसर्स के क्वेश्चन पिकअप किए हैं, तो हम स्टडी से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन भी कुछ पिकअप कर लेंगे नेक्स्ट लेक्चर के अंदर।
और इन बिटवीन इफ यू हैव एनी ऑब्जर्वेशन, और अगर आपको लगता है कि हमें स्पेसिफिकली कुछ डिस्कस करना है या आपका कोई फीडबैक है, रिमेंबर योर फीडबैक इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अस। सो अपना फीडबैक जरूर दीजिए सो दैट वी कैन इम्प्रूव। और अगर कहीं कोई रिक्वायरमेंट है जिसको हम फुलफिल नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, आपको लगता है कि ये हमें समझना है, तो हम उसको कर पाए। रेवती, 5C is very lengthy. ठीक है, you are writing question number 5C is very lengthy. How to write for 3 marks? This question is for 3 marks. Now, what is 5C? Approach to audit and extent of checking are undergoing a progressive change in favor of more attention towards the question of principle and control with a curtailment of non-consequential routine checking. क्या है? अप्रोच जो है ऑडिट एंड एक्सटेंट ऑफ चेकिंग जो है उसमें प्रोग्रेसिव चेंज हो रहा है। ठीक है, किस फेवर में? एंड मोर अटेंशन टुवर्ड द क्वेश्चन ऑफ प्रिंसिपल एंड कंट्रोल विद द कर्टेलमेंट ऑफ नॉन कॉन्सिक्वेंशियल रूटीन चेकिंग। डिस्कस द गिवन स्टेटमेंट। ठीक है, आपने ये पहचान लिया कि ये क्वेश्चन, ये पहले तो ये बताइए सबसे पहले कि क्वेश्चन कौन से टॉपिक का है। ये जो है इसके लिए भी आपका स्पेसिफिक एक चैप्टर है, इसके लिए आपका एक चैप्टर, जैसे एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर का एक चैप्टर था, वैसे ही इस टॉपिक के लिए भी एक स्पेसिफिक चैप्टर है ना। ठीक है, तो वो चैप्टर है हमारा ऑडिट सैम्पलिंग। और यस, नीलाब्जो ने एकदम सही आइडेंटिफाई किया है कि ऑडिट सैम्पलिंग जो चैप्टर है वो यहाँ पे एप्लीकेबल है, राइट। तो जो अप्रोच है, अब ये कैसे आप चेकिंग करोगे, और अगर उसमें चेंज है आप कैसे क्वेश्चन ऑफ प्रिंसिपल्स और कंट्रोल जो कर्टेनमेंट है नॉन कॉन्सिक्वेंशियल रूटीन चेकिंग के लिए, तो इसको आप कैसे डिस्कस करोगे। तो यहाँ आपका सबसे पहले ऐसे सैम्पलिंग जो है, कौन सा ऐसे है?
ऐसे 530 है
ना, ऐसे 530 है, और ये हमारा एक चैप्टर भी है। ठीक है, रेवती और सबने सही आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया है। ठीक है,
थोड़ा ये क्वेश्चन क्या है कि रेवती, ये क्वेश्चन थोड़ा सा क्वालिटेटिव है, थोड़ा सा एक इसमें ज्यादा विजडम है, ज्यादा थॉट प्रोसेस है, तो इसको हम नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में डिस्कस अच्छे से कर लेंगे इंस्टेड ऑफ इन दिस लेक्चर।
ठीक है,
तो इसको हम नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में डिस्कस करेंगे।
ठीक है,
अभी आप करो ना,
I think time is indicating to conclude only, dear students. We will be meeting you tomorrow on 20th September again at same at 2:30 p.m. So till the time, keep working hard and focus on your goal. No one else but you and your thoughts will keep you afloat in strife. Okay? तो आपको दुनिया की हर चीज ठोकर लगने से टूटती है, लेकिन एक कामयाबी ही ऐसी है जो कि ठोकर खाकर मिलती है। तो हमें यहाँ पे जो मुश्किल मतलब जो हमने मिस्टेक्स की है या जो बच्चों ने मिस्टेक्स की है उससे हमको आइडेंटिफाई करना है, समझना है कि हमारे आंसर्स में क्या क्या पार्ट है वो होने चाहिए, और कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट डेफिनेशन टर्म्स जो कि की कंसेप्ट होल्ड है, जिसको कि सर ने आपको एक्सप्लेन भी किया है, उनको आपको अंडरस्टैंड करना है। और सर कल के लिए कोई होमवर्क
स्टूडेंट्स आपके लिए है, जैसे मैंने आज आपको ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, ऑडिट एविडेंस, FRF कराया आज आपको, आज सफिशिएंट एप्रोप्रिएट करवाया आज आपको, फिर अनदर डेफिनेशन इज एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर्स की डेफिनेशन। इस तरह से मैंने आपको 8-10 डेफिनेशन कराया। एक तो आप इनको 10-10 बार रीड करके आइएगा, 5 टाइम्स एटलीस्ट, और देखो कि क्या आपको कल तक रिटेन रहती है, ये जरूर चेक कर लेना। ये होमवर्क है आपका। और कल के लिए आप कम से कम भी 5 डेफिनेशन आप खुद से करके आना, यहाँ लिखना अपनी क्वेरी के अंदर कि हमने ये डेफिनेशन करी है, तो मैं उसको एक्सप्लेन भी करूंगा। आप कम से कम, मैं हर एक स्टूडेंट से बोल रहा हूँ कि आप 5 डेफिनेशन का और आपको होमवर्क दे रहा हूँ। इससे आपकी 8 तो मैंने आपको आज कराई दी, 8 से 10, तो आपकी 15 डेफिनेशन 2 दिन में तैयार हो जाएंगे, आपका बैकअप साथ रेडी हो जाएगा। और आप जो मैंने आपको आज ऐसे 200 का ऑब्जेक्टिव बताया, एक इसको जरूर 5 बार रीड करके आइएगा। और ऐसे 230 ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, उसकी डेफिनेशन तो आप करोगे ही, का साथ स्कोप और ऑब्जेक्टिव भी करके आना, और ऑडिट एविडेंस का तीन मैंने आपको होमवर्क के साथ
बहुत सारा होमवर्क मिल गया है। कल के सेशन से पहले आपको ये सब करना है, और कृष्णा ने बोल भी दिया है सर करके आएंगे। और रिमेम्बर, फीडबैक इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। आपको इस सेशन में और कुछ एडिशनल, कुछ और अंडरस्टैंड करना है, कोई लर्निंग है, तो यू कैन राइट टू अस प्लीज।
अभी एक क्वेरी ये रह गई कि आदर्शन पूछा है, महमद ने पूछा, और सौरभ की क्वेरी भी रह गई है, डिफरेंस बिटवीन इंटरनल कंट्रोल वर्सेस इंटरनल कंट्रोल ऑन फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग। स्टूडेंट्स आपकी एक क्वेरी आंसर होगी, और आदर्शन मैं कल एक्सप्लेन करूंगा, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट और बहुत अच्छी टर्म है,
ठीक है,
और कल एक्सप्लेन करेंगे, हम इसको डिस्कस करेंगे।
ये जो क्वेश्चंस रिमेनिंग है वो हम कल डिस्कस करेंगे। टिल द टाइम यू हैव टू कंप्लीट योर होमवर्क एंड बी रेडी विथ योर नोटपैड एंड पेन, फॉर टुमारो वी विल बी टेकिंग अप remaining questions, remaining chapters, or till the time, wish you all the very best. Thank you. And today for your session mentor was I CA Karuna Bhansali.
I am CA Rajiv Sachdeva.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.